Hello there. Happy Monday. I'd like to talk to you about our friends. Yeah, that was a way unnecessary explosion. Can you just let me know? That felt very unfair. That felt very unfair.
That was not fair for Rob to have blown you up twice.
I'll tell you what is fair, Dan. Fairlease at fairlease.org. They will help you lease your next vehicle. Drive now, pay later, 0 money down, no payments for 60 days. White glove service. Blake, what does that mean?
They treat you nice.
Okay, so they're going to handle everything from the beginning to the end. So they'll bring the car to you. They'll actually bring the car to you. You just sit there, mess around on your phone, you're swiping, I like this one. Then they bring you the car, you sign the documents from the comfort of your home.
What is black glove service?
Cost-effective leasing. You will save money. Leasing costs less than buying. Pay only the amount for the lease.
Like no one's helping you today, are they?
Car. You can save time. Maybe. You're saddled with 2 kids all weekend, and you're like, but I really need a new car.
Projecting.
They can help you with that. You don't have to go spend all Saturday dealing with it. Maybe you're just a super ripped guy like Dan who works out all day Saturday.
Hey.
You're going to have to be available for that. Well, you don't have to go to the dealership. Check them out at fairlease.org. Thanks a lot, guys.
And it isn't like the Eagles have an easy road, right? You got to play Gilmer, and you got to play Graham and Bladewater, and then you get here and you got to play the team that set the record for offense, and we saw why. And somehow the Eagles were able to get it done.
All right, everybody, you can wipe your tears now. Such a great season and such a great moment for everyone involved with the football team. Coming up in the program, we'll be joined by the head coach of the Argyle Eagles, Coach Todd Rogers, to talk a little bit about last year's state championship game and a little bit about this season. And after the break, we will talk with Ben Baby of the Denton Record Chronicle about this year's team. Stay with us.
Little Blake.
Wipe your tears.
Did you literally cry over any Argyle football game? Have you?
No. I just thought that was the right thing to say in that moment.
You're lying to your listeners?
He will one day. When he moves there and becomes the play-by-play guy, he will cry. And it won't be from Brooks. It'll be after Brooks. When he just gets to know the team as a collective, that he's just these boys.
You mean like I do now?
Yeah, I mean, I think you're too young still. I think every high school play-by-play guy gets emotional once their kids are gone because they're thinking about dying. And so in their head, they're like, boy, I remember youth, whole life in front of you. I get kind of sad thinking about looking up, realizing I'm never going to get to play in a football game again.
Like flag doesn't count?
It does not count.
I'm Dan McDowell.
I'm Jake Kemp.
I'm Blake Jones.
Along with video man Rob Chickering, formerly known as the Skydiving Chief. Did you have a nickname with Craddock?
He's just Rob.
Just Rob? All right. We are broadcasting high atop my garage today. Live, I think.
Oh, forgot about that.
I think we're live streaming.
Pretty sure.
Kind of prepping for this evening, as we will do another live stream during an exciting Cowboys game. And Blake did lie in that clip, like saying he's wiping his tears. He lied in that form, but then he did not lie when he teased ahead and said joining him would be Ben Baby of the Denton what?
Denton Record Chronicle.
The Denton Record Chronicle.
That's right.
Which is a newspaper, I'm guessing.
Yes.
And Ben Baby is here, live.
Wow.
High atop the garage.
Wow.
Because he's in town to cover the big match tonight.
When are you going to be on Around the Horn?
I don't know. That's a good question. Probably not anytime soon. But I'm with y'all. I cannot be more thrilled. I was just saying this before, and I want to make sure I say I think it's really cool that we're all still kind of doing this thing all this time. Like I remember meeting you back when we were in school. Blake, running around with him in a bunch of Argyle press boxes. By the way, I think in the top 5 games I've covered at AT&T Stadium, I put out the list. Argyle Fairfield, that state title game in 2013, I believe, was a banger. So that was good.
Made you want to cry, right?
It did not. But It was good.
Must have been just one of us. Yeah, it's really weird. How old are you now?
33.
See, I feel like you're older not because you look older, but just because you have an air of
like legitimacy,
gravitas.
Yeah,
you.
like you're real.
Going gray early helped you.
I've been going gray since you've known me.
Yeah.
It's just gotten more pronounced as the years have gone on.
Yeah, but now look, they're letting a lot of newbies on around the horn. I feel like that should be your goal.
I thought it was dying.
It might be, but like they let Kevin Clark do it,
Oh yeah, this summer is the last.
I know.
Yeah.
Well, whatever replaces it, I want Ben Baby on it.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Should we say what he does now?
Yeah, well, I was hinting towards that just because he's in town to cover the big game. The big game in Arlington.
Simpsons game.
The Simpsons game.
We booked Ben Baby and Mike Soroy. One covers the Bengals, one used to work for the Simpsons.
There you go. And, yeah, I know you write now in Cincinnati. You cover the Bengals.
That's correct.
Yeah. Give us an exciting give us a Bengals story that they won't give us on the broadcast tonight.
Oh, that's a good one. I'm trying to think of what would be solid here.
But there's always little things going on with all these teams.
Owner's pretty cool, right?
Mike Brown, he's at practice, like every practice. He'll show up, and so there's a bubble that we got to go to when they're indoors. They've been inside all week getting ready for AT&T to playing inside. Also, it's been like freezing. It's been like 20 degrees. There's no reason to practice outside when you're 4-8, if we're being honest. So, but Mike will like drive his little Chevy Malibu like the 2 blocks over. Usually he'll take a golf cart if the weather's nice, but he's been driving over, watching them practice. I don't think he's missed a single practice in the 6 years I've been there, which is unbelievable. He'll just sit there, rolling in the golf cart, just sit in a chair, and he'll watch the entire thing.
The Cowboys owner flies his helicopter on the practice field.
Yeah. Do they do the day after the game? Is he sitting in the coaches' meetings like Jerry and Steven are?
Yeah, I'm going to say Mike does not do that. It's a very opposite front office. But I do think it's interesting. Both are family-run businesses, and I think that's usually used against the Bengals and used in a negative connotation. When you talk about their spending and how they've operated over the years. But, Mike and then his daughter, Katie Blackburn, the executive vice president, really does a lot of the day-to-day operations. And then their children, Caroline and Elizabeth, they're now heavily involved there as well. So it's really the Brown and Blackburn family. They do a whole lot of that, much like the Jones do.
It's going great. Working out really well for both of them.
Yeah. Well, the
Bengals made the Super Bowl.
I will say that the Bengals did.
But the Cowboys also won 36 games in 3 years. There was only a couple teams with more. Stephen Jones told me.
Give me the Super Bowl.
But I'm saying
they got themselves a quarterback that can play big in big games.
What's he doing this year? Oh yeah,
putting up MVP numbers.
Yeah, he is actually. He's pretty great.
Yeah, Joe, I'm curious to see how the season goes. How just increasingly upset he gets with how things have gone. You got a sense of that, like week 2. When they lost to Kansas City, I think we asked him about is this like some variation of just a measuring stick game for what y'all want to be at the end of the year? He goes, we're not even thinking about that right now. And I got the sense in the way that he answered that question, he was saying, I don't know if we're really going to be good enough to be a playoff team at the end of the line. And then now I think everybody's firmly in agreement that this thing, you're now prepping for 2025. And if you're everybody but Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase essentially on that roster, you're playing to prove that you can be somebody that they can build around. Because Joe is going to at some point make his opinion known to the front office and say, I like these guys, I do not like these guys, here's why, and you go from there.
Coach gone?
I think Zach's definitely going to have at least another year. I think that, in one thing I try to tell people all the time, and coming from Texas, I said in having the career that I have, it's really now you kind of shortcut a lot of the steps of where you don't have to go work at the Denton Record Chronicle or, the San Antonio Express News and go cover preps for a long time or a few years even. But, because I was able to do that and I dealt with, Blake Sky, Todd Rogers, Joey Florence, a lot of really good coaches in DFW and in San Antonio, you get to learn why they're successful and kind of how they operate, how they structure things, and what makes them good. It's not just that they've got a lot of players, but how they tick as head coaches. And I think a lot of those things carry over from the high school level to the college level to the pro level. Like when I first met Kevin Sumlin and really got to be around him a little bit, I'm like, I don't think this is going to work out. And while they were good at times, eventually you got a sense of, okay, when it did fall apart, I'm like, yeah, I kind of saw that coming. And I think with Zach Taylor, there have been some issues on how this team has performed, especially this year. He said point blank, I'm a 4-8 head coach this year. That's the way it is. But I think the way that, I think very few guys would have been able to handle the pressure early on after winning 6 games their first 2 years. His third season, they did not look like they were going to be a very good team. I remember even in December, before that year they went to the Super Bowl, weren't a ton of fans at games. There were some questions about whether that team makes the playoffs. I think if you're a bad head coach and you're not wired the right way, you kind of succumb to that pressure. The team, and then it's over.
Yeah.
And I think he's done a good job. He's very level-headed. I think there are a lot of attributes he has that I think has made him have this job for as long as he's had it. That being said, I think that the fans are really fed up with how things have gone. I think inside that locker room, they're kind of wondering why they're this bad this year. And so I think there's going to be a lot of urgency this offseason to get this thing righted. And then you're going to be asked some serious questions about the franchise, if not after next season.
Did they mess up the Chase situation?
That's going to be a great question.
Seems like he got more expensive.
They made an offer.
I got the sense before training camp that I just did not think that was going to come together. I just thought that what Jamar was looking for, what the Bengals were wanting to do, I did not know. I didn't get the sense that they were going to find a way to come across the finish line and get that deal signed. And when you look at it, the Bengals, they don't like to give a lot of money guaranteed past the first year. One of the unique franchises that does that. Most teams, Pittsburgh and Green Bay, you talk to agents around the league, they will kind of structure contracts similarly. But you've seen Pittsburgh start to change a little bit. Green Bay will start to change a little bit with the Jair Alexander's deal. They kind of built some bonuses in there, so it wasn't technically guaranteed, but it was an effective guarantee. The Bengals don't really do that outside of the quarterback, and that's something that's well known inside that locker room. And for Jamar Chase to hit the numbers he wants to hit, and he said he wants to beat the piss out of Justin Jefferson's deal, and that's me not using an expletive there.
No.
That being said, I think they're going to have to figure out how they're going to structure that. And we were sitting at the team hotel the night before the Kansas City game, and I remember we're sitting with some team folks like we normally do the night before a game, and all of a sudden, all our phones buzz. We get the notification that Schefter had a story come out that Jamar felt like he was misled in the contract negotiations. And I said, this might get a little hairy. So I think that is something we're going to watch over these next few weeks because, he's been a big part of this year and, they played really well. And I think that's what, there's a lot of intrigue for me about this game tonight because I think the Cowboys and the Bengals are in very similar spots. Some questions long-term.
One headed to the playoffs, one already eliminated.
I think both will miss the
tournament.
tournament.
I'm going to go and say they're both probably gone.
Okay, well, I saw a graphic last night that said in the hunt.
Cowboys are in the hunt. They remain in the hunt.
That's right.
Did Schefter get that info from the ownership or the agent? I can't figure that one out. It's funny how...
Hey, Adam is good at his job. I like Adam. Great teammate.
People were getting mad at him, though, right? He was the one that got a lot of the ire for agent tweets.
Do you have to feed him stuff if you...
No, you do not. Honestly,
info?
Adam's awesome. If there's something that I feel like I need to get, and I've got maybe good sourcing, but I would like it to be shored up a little bit more, I'll reach out to Adam. He's a really good teammate. He's really helpful, and I've got nothing bad to say about him. I mean, our folks are pretty solid.
Did you hear the interview he did recently where he copped to the strangest place he's ever broken a scoop?
I saw some headlines. Yeah.
Yeah. He was on vacation, and he said he had just met a woman. He was dating her, and it was the first time that he had been with her, and that his phone rang like during the act, and he had to
stop during the act.
Had to stop.
Oh, really?
I thought he didn't stop.
Well, I think he said I broke the story and I got the job done, or I got the job done on both fronts.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a man who's thinking about football.
Yeah, is your life a little like that? It's.
Yeah, have you ever had to stop mid-coit?
I don't mean that as much as just being a beat writer seems like it would just be
a beating.
Yeah, like you have to be at every practice just in case. You probably have to be like at the children's hospital when they go do a bit, or at least if Joe Burrow or Chase does, and just in case your competitor gets something. I guess it's different because you don't work for the local newspaper. But I don't know. Maybe the pressure's the same.
Yeah, it's funny because I've been yelled at. We're gonna say we're all friends here. I've said it in our press room. I'm annoyed at some of my fellow beat writers that they don't show up every day to practice, and I'm like, I don't understand it. Like even during COVID, I was at every practice. I don't think I've missed any of them, and because you never know. I remember I had a buddy's wedding, at the beginning of training camp in 2023. and I was in the wedding. And so, I was like, you know what, I've got to be at this wedding. So I'm going to end up missing a practice. And like you said, like the worst thing that could have happened, I'm sitting there, we're getting ready to go to the rehearsal, and all of a sudden my phone just blows up. And they're like, hey, what's going on out there? And I'm like, what happened? What's going on here? Like, we're literally about to go out the hotel door. And then I check Twitter. All of a sudden, I see Joe Burrow pull up, and he gets carted off the field. And I'm like, my phone just went flying across the room. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. Luckily, like, our folks handled it really well. Like, my guy, Stephen Holder, who covers the Colts, he came in the next day. We were at lunch. I'm like, oh, Holder's covering the Bengals. That's nice. So that's good, and that was fantastic. But definitely, that's what you don't want to have happen. And I remember my buddy, Mike Monroe, who covered the Denver Nuggets for a long time, he broke Michael Jordan's retirement when it happened. He also likes to say that his editor stopped him from breaking a second one. So he was, I remember I used to house sit for him. He had it was like a little NBA museum. He had like a proclamation from David Stern in his office, which was really cool. But he told me, like, back in the day when the Denver newspaper wars were insane, he said you'd wake up in the morning, like, as soon as the paper, you get both papers, and as soon as the paper hit the driveway, you'd wake up like in a cold sweat, and you'd immediately just flip to the back and make sure you didn't get beat. And that's what it was like every day. You're a beat writer because you're just terrified someone's going to beat you. So, no, that's kind of how that goes. But it's fun. Like, it's fun winning. Like, when you win, it's the best. And you let folks know about it sometimes. You kind of needle them a little bit. And then when you lose, it's the worst. But, yeah, I like to compete, so it's fun. I enjoy it.
So the Bengals, they're notoriously cheap, too, as I recall, as a Browns fan. Like, they just won't spend. And then I've just come to recently learn, it seems like the Cowboys are, too, as far as cash spending. And I don't really totally understand all of that. But
it's not just cash spending. It's really the whole operation. Like, if you talk to people who work there, they're not considered a team that spends a lot for their employees, whether it's media, website, creatives, all that sort of stuff, production. They just don't.
And that's similar to the Bengals?
Well, I think the Bengals, they do get sensitive to that, but I do think it's been accurate over the years. I think once they got Burrow, you started to see a bit of a difference. They were going out and spending more money. And I know a guy in the league who's very well versed in the salary cap. And when you talk to agents, when you talk to front office folks, the cash spending is the most important thing. Cap spending is just pure accounting. You can manipulate that, but when cash is on the books, that's why the Bengals, when you put a lot of guaranteed money on the books, you will have to account for that. There's no, we're going to flip. You can't convert this base salary into a roster bonus and do like what the Saints do, and they pretend the cap's not real. They just keep pushing money down the line. Cash spending is cash spending, and a lot of times you will see that the Bengals have been good over the years in spending cash. Now, how they structure the contracts, sometimes, especially inside the industry, I think a lot of agents and players would, like I said earlier, to have more guaranteed money, especially after that first year because they want that security. But, Dan, your point's definitely correct. That cash spending, I was stunned to see the Cowboys are as low as they are, given everything we know about that franchise. If you want to win at a high level, you've got to go spend. And I'll be honest, guys, I was looking at this roster going into this game. I am stunned at how bad this roster is. Like, I was looking, I was like, you got to be kidding me. Like, this roster should be better. Like, I love Carl Lawson. He's one of my favorite players. I think the fact that he's currently on the 53 is surprising. And, like, Carl had pre-Achilles tear in New York. I heard Sheldon Rankins was with the Bengals, said he had probably one of the best training camps he had ever seen. And ever since the injury, just hasn't been the same. Nick Vigil got cut after, I want to say, his first year with the Bengals my first year with the Bengals in 19. He's still on the 53, going through and looking at
a lot of injuries.
Sure. But
Sam Williams, DeMarcus Lawrence.
But you got to account for that. You have to. It's the NFL.
Yeah. They've had some misses. So do you guys want a weekend check with Ben here?
Yeah, let's do the show.
Okay.
Ben Baby is here with us. Weekend check is brought to us by Tito's. Tonight we have a live stream for the game, and we have a checklist every week when we host our football watching parties. So we got the big screen TV, comfortable seats, and, of course, Tito's handmade vodka. Tito's is America's favorite vodka for a reason. It's a spirit that knows how to focus on what's important. That's why it comes in a standard bottle with a modest paper label, so all you pay for is the high-quality vodka inside. Tito's is 6 times distilled till it's just right. Naturally gluten-free and mixes with just about anything from the smoothest martinis to the best Bloody Marys. We are fired up to be associated with a brand like Tito's because not only is it known for great vodka, but for giving back by teaming up with nonprofits around the world to serve its communities and do good for dogs. It is the vodka for dog people. Find your new favorite cocktail with Tito's by visiting titosvodka.com. Distilled and bottled by 5th Generation Incorporated, Austin, Texas. 40% alcohol by volume, distilled from corn. Copyright 2025, crafted to be savored responsibly.
We had some shared weekend check time.
Yeah, at the ballpark yesterday.
The Gilf.
So I made a mistake. I did not bid in time on any of Jared's items.
What?
And we have a pile of money to play with to give Jared's charity.
I thought I was going to get to golf with Nathaniel Lowe.
And I didn't bid on the Dude Perfect signed basketball for
okay.
Brooks.
That's fine.
I was going to get my own sit-in.
I know
and just
you
buy a day off. So the sit-in with the show, I just sit here.
Oh, that'd be great.
And at the end of the show, I'm like, no Reddit hates this, but I got a couple notes here. And I'm like, yeah, I don't.
I think Jake is awesome.
That would have been a good bit.
Well, what happened?
I don't know.
Last thing I said to you, I'm like, I think it closes at 8:30.
I know, and I checked my phone right away because I went and then I saw that it closed next week. And I was like, oh.
And it doesn't.
But it turns out it was that day. Anyway,
why would they have the event a week early?
We're going to go to thesandlot.org, and we're just going to give them the money and not get stuff
Which is what
back.
we always intended to do.
Right, but I wanted to get stuff back.
No, I'm saying you're saying that for comedy. What we really just wanted to give.
Oh, yeah. That was just comedy. Yeah, I didn't want to get stuff back. My daughter was yelling at me yesterday about what a bad person I am because I was excited. I was talking to her before we went to the events, and I said, I'm going to clean up. I'm going to get items. I'm going to get the hotel stay. I'm going to get all this stuff that's for auction. And then I just didn't make it on time. And then we're just going to have to give him money.
I would give Jared a lot of money to get him in an Arsenal jersey because he's a diehard Tottenham Hotspur fan. So we've
got some money here. Whatever bits you have, you want to get done.
That's right. We'll make him do that.
I mean, I said to Dan walking by, we went and looked at all the auction items. I was like, dude, we have this money. It's going to go to charity. Get the William Shatner signed Star Trek shirt.
I thought that was just a misallocation of funds.
It went for $5.95. That is way less than we had.
Could have done that.
And I told you, I was like, that thing does look sick. And
we're
going to
donate that anyway, yeah.
Star Wars, yeah. It was right there.
Star Trek.
You like the movie Rounders, right?
That's all right.
Oh, is that a Bob thing?
Probably. Is that the gambling one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Matt Damon signed script, $230. I just got a Star Trek shirt and the signed script, and we're still under
what are you gonna do with that?
$1,000.
Read it.
We never had a chance on the Dude Perfect office tour, but yeah, we're looking at the items.
So this is where we throw basketballs.
And
this is where we catch our footballs.
Oh no!
Here's our trampolines.
Hold on, I got one of my boys is part of the Dude Perfect group, so I cannot.
The thing is, that makes a ton of sense because he's a good person, Ben.
Yeah, so it's actually a guy in our dorms, Kevin Sparkman. He's like the unofficial 6th member.
Okay, so he's not Cody or Kobe.
No, but
he's a doctor.
Combi.
No, he just goes and runs around. And,
I thought you meant the guy that left.
No.
On the documentary, they had the guy who was like.
We never did the documentary, did we?
I think we were off when it dropped, maybe or something.
Okay.
But
yeah.
I thought you guys watched a little bit of it.
I watched it on the bus.
DZRV.
Yeah, I did too. So they had a guy who bailed. And I hope they kind of make him somewhat financially whole, although he's a doctor.
I'm sure he does well. I'm sure they do well. This guy, Kevin Sparkman, a.k.a. Sparky, he was in the RTVF program at North Texas. He was just in our dorm. And I think, like, our group chat, one of the guys went to A&M. I still don't really know how it all came together. One of them played, Travis Labhart was a receiver at A&M when Manziel was there. And I think they went to Whitesboro together, and so there was a connection there. And eventually Spark just got more involved, and, like, now he's part of their alternate cast for the Amazon Prime game last year. I was like, this is kind of surreal. And then we were in Vegas last year. I was there for a fight. And I was like, oh, do you want to meet up? He's like, we're throwing basketballs off the Space Needle in Vegas. I'm like, yeah. I'm like, all right, cool.
Of course they are.
Yep.
Look, they're very successful.
It's a good video.
I'm just not a fan of the bit.
Very
successful.
Highest made shot ever.
And I have a child that probably will be into it. His already is.
We're working on it.
Speaking of those kids, I did take them to the Sandlot charity event yesterday, and we'll work, backward here since we were talking about the auction. I think my daughter's pretty smart. She's almost 6. I can explain what I think are complicated things to her, but either it's that Dan's been out of the parenting game for a really long time, or his kids were just baby Einsteins, because he's watching Nora and they're looking at the auction items while I'm trying to chase down the boy. And I walk back over and Dan is at a deep level explaining the concept of a charity auction. He's like, well, so these people, they donate this item, they'll get a tax write-off. A tax is what you pay at the end of the year.
I don't know that I went that deep, but I thought I'm not going to treat her like a little baby.
You're going to look for write-offs. So what happens here is now this is a 501c. So they're under the code that way.
I explained to her how an auction works.
And see, now we buy this.
Why?
That it helps kids out.
And then the other thing, too, is she's one to be like, well, why? Right? And so he's like, it helps kids out. And she, I kind of overhear, she's like, oh, why are there kids? And he's like, well, a lot of kids, most of them don't even have clean running water. And you should probably actually feel bad about this. And this is here to help out those kids. And, we get an item and those kids, maybe they get a crumb today. I'm like, damn, back off the heaviness here a little bit.
Yeah. But I like to treat her, I feel like she's really smart. And I think you dumb things down too much for her. I
really don't. I may do that.
She just seems very inquisitive, very smart. She'll ask about something.
Yeah,
so I wanted to explain it in detail. And I told you, Blake, I don't like to baby talk the dog or the little. Or
I don't do that at all.
But you didn't have to go that far.
I don't baby talk either.
Little Brooks, yeah. I was trying to explain to Brooks.
But you got to understand, yesterday
the Bitcoin cycle.
Yeah.
Right now, we're just trying to sell
Where
high.
Are we going to buy?
Yeah.
But yesterday, as you guys saw, I was running inside zone. I was keeping it basic. We were not opening things up to explain the intricacies of some economic model. I was just pounding the rock.
That 2-year, is it 2-year-old?
He just turned 2.
That's the most maniacal kid I've ever seen.
I felt for you yesterday.
And you have a boy.
You might want to switch to Gap Scheme. Gap Scheme might be better.
So you've been through this, and you're like, I haven't been through that.
No, but you could see, okay, Brooks, you're doing the bounce house. Cool. I'll be right here whenever you're done. But Carter is, knocking stuff into people. He's got brownie all over his face. He is a madman.
He has no concept of order.
No.
Or society.
No, I was not anticipating there being a line when we got there. And it was no one's fault. It was a short line. But it was set up in the airport style. What do you call those things?
Where you walk back and forth.
What is that actually called?
The TSA checkpoint.
But like the club line thing, where there's a big long thing and they hook into 2 posts and they just weave them back and forth. There's got to be an actual word for those things.
Like the little line snake thing that they have.
Yeah.
There's got to be an actual name. But
so that is you might think a very simple line, but to a child that only knows this way.
Yeah, he walked right through the whole thing.
Yeah, it's at his neck level.
Then you can't do that because you're tall. So you have to send his sister after him.
Right, which didn't help. He was running.
Because then she's kind of gets.
Oh yeah,
oh cool.
Yeah,
we can just run anywhere.
He was running into them full speed like they were wrestling ropes. Like he was going to bounce off and come back to the middle of the ring to drop a clothesline, but then they would just fall over.
Yeah.
And they're falling into people, and I've already gotten over the looks, right? You're just, as a parent, you pretty much have to. You're going to get looks.
It's the you're a bad parent look, because my kid, see how calm my kid is?
Yeah.
And look at your kid.
Yeah, it's a real thing, but real serious error on my part. I tried to get him to stand over by me and calm down by handing him a little pouch of applesauce. I was like, oh, he'll like this. Do you want this? He was like, yes. So I gave it to him. We're still in line outside in the concourse. He took one sip of it and then squeezed it out of everywhere.
Heck yeah.
On the ground as quick as he could, all over the feet of other people.
Uh-huh.
Now I'm trying to wipe that up, and he's just taking off. I lose him for about 5 seconds. Don't know where he is. Some 80-year-old usher's like, "Is this yours?" And walk over there.
Is this thing yours?
Then when we got on down to the field, it was a great setup. But there's a lot going on, and it's all kind of walk around to different booths and different games, but there's no real separation from one to the other. So he's just running full speed into things, knocking stuff over. It's mayhem, dude. And then he just took off around from the warning track around the rest of the perimeter. He was just running on the sand as fast as he could, the dirt, and then she would just body check him. And then they would get up and do it again. They're covered in baseball diamond dirt. Worked out, though.
It was funny watching Nora because she would just watch him and just disgust that she has to put up with him every day.
Hopefully you got some good naps out of it, though. That should be the upside.
They went to bed at night, but we don't do a lot of napping. We don't do a lot of napping.
It was good to see you there, like right at 4 o'clock when it started.
You know what I did? 2 things. One, I foolishly baked in Dan being 5 minutes late. I just assumed.
Yeah, no, I was on it.
I got there at 3:50, and I felt like a jerk because I knew I was early and I didn't want to stand in that line, and I just assumed when they open it, they're going to let everybody in.
Yeah.
And I wanted to let him finish what he was eating. So I was like, hey, I promise I'm not trying to be cheap because it was valet.
Yeah.
Like, can I just park my own car? And I'm like, I guess. And it was like 10 feet away. So I was like, why are we doing I mean, it's cool. It's complimentary. But
Can I say something? I think this is like peak Dallas that people don't realize. We have to lead as a Metroplex the most amount of valet that is unnecessary
it's a lot.
per capita. Anyway, you can try to go to a restaurant, you go to brunch, just wherever. They're like, it's valet. I'm like, what are we doing?
Where are we?
Yeah, when I get to Cincinnati, I was like, oh, we don't have valet anywhere.
And there you would need it. It's correct. 2 degrees.
Yes, correct. But here, you just go anywhere. There's like, there's a valet guy. I'm like, for what? For what?
You trying to dig at me for being late?
Oh, what? Oh, you were late?
Oh, I thought you were getting on to me for walking out at 4:10.
No, not alone.
Oh, okay. See, that's how defensive I am.
No, I'm just saying. It was great seeing you early, and Blake
got it.
kind of showed up eventually when he felt like it.
He's bringing that up?
It was cool of you guys to leave at like 5:30 or whatever, as me and Burks were helping put chairs up and clean up for everybody. Because we were the last ones to leave.
So full of it.
Oh, my gosh.
You guys would just want to take off and not clean up. That's cool.
Oh, my gosh. He's always got one chamber, doesn't he?
We did. We took off. Yeah, get there early, leave early.
I didn't know that was early. I thought that was just normal.
No,
it was 5:45, 6, whatever. Got to see a lot of Rangers luminaries.
Yeah, I was trying to push Brooks to play with Jonah Heim's kids, hoping that they could spark up a friendship.
I know your bit, though. You show up really late, you walk past Jared so he sees you, and then you leave. Mm-hmm. I get it.
You guys
done it before.
Talk to Jared for a few minutes after everything?
We talked to him like quite a few times because we were there early, and then
took his time when he was busy.
This guy, man, I can't handle it.
It's an amazing event.
Yeah.
Support Jared's charity. Like us, we don't give money hoping to get something in return. We just give the money.
That's right.
Because we really care about kids.
Let's see.
And the tax write-off.
Yeah, I did have the solo weekend. Boy, I tell you, they stayed over there Saturday night, but that Sunday morning pickup between 8:30 and 9, and you're staring down the barrel of the next 12 hours. That's a long day.
Mm-hmm. It's a long day when you have the two of them and they're at that age. Like when you just have one, I'll bet it's great. I don't know if you get a lot of just one.
Yes, but I don't know. I mean, he can still be a lot, but there's no doubt. Two solo for a whole day. I mean, I'm running out of stuff to do.
I hate that feeling at 9:30 in the morning, looking at him like, God, what are we gonna do all day?
Yeah, and it's raining.
Yeah, I know it's miserable.
Terrible
outside.
weather. So you're just like, oh God, what do we got? What can we do here? Coming up with games as best you can.
And then by 10:15, you're like, okay, just watch TV.
Here's the iPad.
I timed my iPad time to make myself not feel so bad. And then I did the other thing. This is kind of what I do with food, especially like on a weekend like this, where I know that I'm going to eat like crazy bad for one meal a day. So the rest of the day, I pretty much just eat fruits and vegetables. So I would make her do a 30 on, 30 off with her little literacy packet. And she's like, why are we doing this? You never do this. I'm like, because I'm feeling bad. Read the goddamn words. You can go back to iPad. Another parenting thing I noticed this weekend, tell me if this has ever occurred to you. I shop at basically the same 2 grocery stores. There's a parent who buys all the same stuff I do, and they always buy all of it. Because everybody's got picky kids. And everybody's got like 4 things that their kid will eat. There is absolutely no reason for they have like a protein waffle, and it's made by some company called like Kodiak, and it's a little bit healthier than a regular waffle. Tons of Kodiak pancakes, French toast, every other Kodiak product. But the last 3 times I've been, all of the waffles are gone. Now, the little individual cheese pizzas made by Home Run Inn, Chicago style. The only pizza that is ever out at this Tom Thumb is the cheese Home Run Inn. You want pepperoni, you want sausage, you want veg.
Was that Jackie Robinson's nickname back in the day?
That is way over the top, buddy. That is way over the top. You're going to want to rethink that one.
That's just what I've heard.
So they buy all of it every time. And it's, there's another one. Breakfast muffins. The chocolate ones, the only ones that are never in stock. And it occurred to me this is probably something parents identify with is your kid eats 4 things and you all shop at the same place.
Yeah, and if you're there and you saw they have 10 of them and you know the last 4 times you've been there they've been sold out, you're going to buy 10.
Next time, I will be – and I was pretty early in the day too, and I was like, geez, somebody beat me here.
Yeah, you got to do it when you go down to Dallas. Stop at a Tom Thumb.
It's a real beating.
Yeah.
Was there anything else I definitely had for you guys? I did go to bed at like 7 o'clock on Saturday. I skipped all of the night championship games.
That seems insane. But I suppose in the effort of trying to get your kids tired enough to fall asleep, you end up doing that to yourself.
Yeah, and I was like...
And you get up at like 3.
Yeah, you were tweeting at 3 a.m.
Thought I'd be able to sleep until about 5. That's 10 hours in bed. Didn't work out.
So are you saying that he tweets now just to show us how he's up early?
Yeah.
No, I'll do that. I'll be like, I'll just be on my phone
just to show
scrolling.
up he's a grinder.
Well, I'll just be like, I'm on my phone. I'm like, well, I'd like to, who cares what time I post it?
Yep.
Like, I'll just go out and do it.
Jake just wants to show us how much he's grinding.
Yeah, he's a worker.
Sometimes I put stuff in our Dropbox at 4 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning for real no reason other than it's timestamped.
Yeah, and then I wake up, I'm like, whoa.
Yeah.
Been there for 2 hours?
I have a confession, so I also could not sleep. I woke up middle of the night because we went to bed a little early, was worn out from the day. I wish I was tweeting. What I was actually doing, I was looking at some of the homes surrounding where my parents live, and a lot of these are brand new. And I was like, who owns these homes? How much are these homes worth? And so I was on the appraisal district site going through, just seeing that. I was like, well, what do these people do? They own a convenience store. Oh, a plastic surgeon lives here. Because I'm like, what's going on? Because every time I come back.
What's an appraisal district site? That sounds cool.
Oh, yeah, and I know where Jake lives.
Yeah.
I can find the tax bill if I need it. I remember our first day of our news writing class in North Texas. They're like, all right, they gave us, like, we get in. They're like, you got to go find out where Jerry Jones, Mark Cuban, and, like, Tony Romo live. Here you go. And you go find it. And
they did that to us too.
Yeah.
That sounds better than Zillow, though. You go on Zillow, I'll always look for...
I mean, you can get real intrusive. You can find, like, house plans. Like, you can find what your tax code you're paying, all that. Like, who owned the house before, with the square footage, the parcel map. Like, you can go through and find all that. Like, sometimes, also a confession, when I forget my neighbors' names, I will go on the appraisal district in the county. And I'm like, oh, yeah, this is what they're at. Because I don't ever... It's hard to remember all the names. Like,
That's a great idea.
Yeah. So you're like, oh, this is my neighbor here.
Yeah.
Hey, you still working on that interior project?
Yeah,
there, Rick?
it looks like you added some value to the house. Yeah,
because I have my neighbors. I have it in my phone as neighbor so and so, and then if I just search neighbor, I'll see them all come up, and then
kind of like
interns. Quick glance at the. Yes, Steve. How is Jennifer?
That's
your
how
wife?
People find our addresses.
On the appraisal district
thing?
thing?
Because you can get it removed if you have a good case for it. But I tried one time after people were like, back in my like fighting on Twitter days, I was getting a lot of pictures of my house sent to me, and I was like, because you can't, if you're like a public figure, you can get it taken down.
Can you?
You can. But it's a huge hassle.
Yeah.
But somebody could probably still
You can figure anything out.
Yeah, correct. I don't want to give people ideas here. So, but no, I think what happens is a lot of times, like head football coaches, SEC coaches, or whatever, what they'll do is they'll go buy a house or whatever because they don't want that information out there, and they'll put it in some random trust name. Like they'll make up some name. Like I think Ed Orgeron had some random, like the 503 Boys or something was like his LLC, and so a lot of them will just have their LLC buy the house.
There's so much going on.
Yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot there.
You got anything else, Blake?
No, just solo weekend. I took Brooks to Kid Empire, which is just this massive indoor playground.
Yeah, we watched a video from there recently where that big boy fell from the top. Like it's 4 levels and an adult got on the top and just kept breaking. Those places are fun.
Yeah,
better than what I did. Forgot I went to cookie decorating class
with the kid.
Yeah, no, it's solo.
Just me.
Just stoked on Christmas.
Well, I thought I could maybe take him and take a book and just kind of relax, but
that's not true.
I know, because there was a million birthday parties, and you feel like if you look away, you're gonna lose him.
This is the dumbest thing you've ever done. Oh yes, a place where I can really relax and get some zen. Why don't I go to a kids' amusement park?
Well, I was just trying to think of something where we could both get something out of it, where I'm not just sitting there staring at him, feeling like I'm wasting my time. But just watching him like see punching bags and run and punch it. Or, hey, look at this platform. Let me jump off of it.
Oh, yeah.
And then I think like every few hours they dress a guy up in a dragon.
The dragon, yeah.
And turn the lights off, and like he walks around to the happy dance.
Yep.
And Brooks sees it and just gets in line. Oh, hell yeah, dragon. Let's go follow it.
Buddy, you're really not in this party.
He was there.
Wait, so is this a place that like has what is this place?
It's like a birthday party place, kind of.
It's like you're like on the edge of like, you remember Discovery Zone or Leaps and Bounds?
Yeah.
Those both go on? Well, it's kind of like that. It's just a big plaything structure.
Yeah.
So there's like slides and there's ball pits and there's climb up here and climb over there, and you can have your birthday party there. And if you pay for the right package, the dragon package, then they'll bring a dragon out and he dances. There's like strobe lights going on. The best is when a parent pays for the dragon package, and I've seen this happen, and the birthday child is horrified by the dragon.
Yeah.
So he comes out and he's doing this or that, and the kid just takes off running, crying away. There's an extra $100 wasted.
But in watching, so I don't know, it just became a transfer. I was just like watching other parents and how much they hated being there and all that. And this one lady just decided.
There's a guy there definitely thinking, if I had stayed married, I wouldn't have to be the parent at this.
Yeah.
If you're a woman who wants a dad in your life, you need to go to one of those places on a weekend and troll.
Well, this one lady decided if her kid wasn't having fun, no one was having fun. So they had this like little slide with the little rollers, and you're supposed to get on this little, this little cart thing, where it's got a little handle, and you sit on it, and you just haul ass down this slide. But the problem is there's only 4 of those things, and there are 20 kids that want to do it.
Yeah.
And kids aren't really good about, okay, I'm done, let's share the whole bit. And she just decided, like, hey, all these other 16 kids that don't have a cart, they need to be gone. So she goes and gets an employee who has to tell 4-year-olds, you can't ride down the slide without a cart. And Brooks was one of them. So it's like, lady, come on.
Yeah.
Because all the kids were just like going down face first and just having a good time. But shout out to the lady who decided, I'm just going to ruin all this fun for everybody.
Going to get a lot of Karening at Kids Empire.
Yeah, on a rainy Saturday.
Yeah, that's her domain.
So the college football.
What?
Say again? An update.
Oh, a recall
for Jake Kemp.
Oh, shit, we had a recall?
On the frozen waffle.
Well, screw me. Thank you, Rob.
What is that? The protein.
It's a waffle that's not just straight carbs.
You say that came from the chat? Yeah. Okay, wow.
Fantastic. Look at that.
All right, well, you're wrong, Blake. The chat can be worth something. You say the chat sucks and you hate it.
Thank you. Shout out, they should be studying.
Nice. Nice. Well,
the
I still gotta
Kodiak
figure
protein
out.
waffles have been recalled.
Dang. I would have bought those on the for the low, like if they just.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, how about that?
The college football playoff, I think that's probably bigger story than the NFL weekend, just because, I don't know. But the college football playoff has been announced. And our college football talk today will be brought to you by Elite Rides DFW at 1-844-RIDE-DFW. It is your premier transportation solution. Jesse Rodriguez is the man at the helm here. And if you call them, tell them you heard about them on the Dumb Zone, they will give you 15% off your first ride. Or go to eliterides-dfw.com and use promo code DZ15 for that same 15% off.
It might be too late for tonight, but this is perfect for a Cowboy game. Especially you got a night game. You don't want to be dealing with the traffic on your own. Just get into that big old SUV or that Sprinter van if you got a big group. It's perfect for those sort of outings. They'll take care of you. Again, 844-RIDE-DFW, eliterides-dfw.com, promo code DZ15, 15% off.
So SMU got in. I forgot.
Can I play
it out?
I'm probably here in a couple minutes.
Okay,
yes.
I'm going to...
Oh, you have limited availability today, Ben Baby?
Well, we are actually taking our son to North Park. We have a 10-month-old, so he's going to go get some Santa pictures.
Nice.
So
Very
we'll
nice.
do that and then head over to the stadium.
The first Santa pictures.
Yes. I think we got some done in Kentucky/Cincinnati where we live, but this is North Park. We're going to do it right. We got an appointment. Like, my wife was like, we're going to go do this. It's going to be set. I'm like, all right, we'll get it done.
Although
so
I'm
pumped. I
he
love
does
North
get
Park.
to see snow all the time already. So it's like the whole North Park ice snow thing. For me, when I was a kid, I was like, oh, my God. This is like what the winter is like.
I don't know if you get a lot of snow in Cincinnati.
Do you not?
It's actually gotten, it's been more mild. I remember the first day we moved there, it got under 32 degrees, and we're immediately going to the store and buying jackets. So I get a lot of heat for having the Texas skin and not being really acclimated, but I'm getting there.
Yeah.
I'm going to kick off college football talk with that one image, Rob, that says group chat because, again, as I told you, I went to bed after Texas, Georgia, and had it on a little bit in the background. This is how I learned everything that was happening Saturday night via a group chat. This is KJ at the top. You'll see here who plays. This is after halftime. Played it at SMU. The mood has changed. LOL. In other news, a news story about the fall of the Assad regime in Syria. Our friend David Ruff, I think it's done, also has played and may have been shot down when he fled, followed by, fuck, I hate punting here. So I really got all of the news from Saturday night that I needed right here in this one group chat text. And I was like, boy, you guys are really, speaking of around the horn.
So were they upset about this Clemson situation?
Yeah, but, I mean, they were really upset in the first half. But then in the second half, SMU, that's the SMU you've seen all year, where they're just dynamic. But they got in.
But they got in. That was the big question.
Right, yeah,
Would
but I'm
they
saying
get
KJ
in?
played there, so he just went to bed Saturday night thinking, like, they're not going to keep Alabama out.
Yeah, well, I didn't think they would either. I mean, there's good arguments to keep Alabama in over SMU. Strength of schedule, although, I love my position here. I'm swooping in like last night, developing hot opinions about all of this, and I don't know anything about any, wait
like
a
the
second.
national reporter that shows up in Cincinnati to do their profile on Joe Burrow.
What is the
Kevin Clark just dropping in to say hello? Yeah. No.
Is it Austin Janty? What's his name?
Yeah,
running back.
Yeah, Frisco kid.
Yeah, I'm like,
Future Cowboy.
He should win the Heisman. Like, I got really hot opinions about it now. Like, Travis Hunter, I know it's a fun little trick he's got, but I don't know. I actually don't really care.
I don't. I just like that it gets the people going.
I wanted to see some SMU people get upset.
Well, now I get to see Alabama people get upset,
Right,
which is
and that's
equally
really
awesome.
That's really fun as well. And the argument that strength of schedule, obviously.
Whenever you need.
Yeah,
Ben.
you're good.
Okay. All right.
Just throw the headset off.
Yeah, you got to roll?
I do. I think now is I don't know the appropriate way to go do this, but it's been a pleasure. It's just been a lot of fun. Really enjoy listening to y'all, following y'all from afar.
I love seeing you on television.
Yeah.
I imagine that those, as the Bengals get less relevant, I won't be on as much, but we will see how that changes over the course of the offseason. But
this is why beat reporters pull for their teams, and people are like, "You're a homer." I don't actually care that they win. I want to be on television.
I mean, I'm fine either way. I'm good. I just put me in cold. I don't need the reps. I just come out, and I feel like I got the confidence to be able to go out and do it. But no, it's. I mean, I'll be honest. I like it. I think there's great both ways. When your team's winning, it's a lot of fun. But also when you're losing. Your team's losing, you get to ask a lot of questions like, oh, why are y'all bad? What's going on here?
Yeah.
Like, oh, you feel like you're losing a step, and then, but I think I know, you develop relationships with guys in the locker room for long enough that when you ask them questions like that, I think they know you're coming from a good place. So, no, and honestly, you get to learn a lot about ball, and it's a fun time of year. But
you ever get like confrontational, like Jean-Jacques and who was attacking him a couple years ago, or
Roy Williams, the safety, I want to say.
Okay, he's got him. We've had one with Clarence, I think. I don't know. Some players just come after you after they don't like something you wrote.
I think you almost expect that, and that's kind of why, like we argued. This big conversation about being in the locker room, and that's one of the things that I've said. I was like, it's one of the reasons why we should be in there. So when we write something that we can't go duck and hide,
you could be held accountable.
Yeah, you say, hey, I saw what you wrote or saw what you said. I thought it was trash, and here's why. I'm like, all right, you just got to sit there and take it, and that's. Players should have that ability to go out and do that. And honestly, like I respect guys who do that. When I covered Denton Ryan. Like, I remember, Joey Florence called me up one morning, like at 6:30 on a Saturday because he didn't like something. And then I went and saw him on Tuesday, and it was fine. I think sometimes where you have a lot of the issues between media and players or coaches or whatever is when they're upset, but they don't tell you. And they hold on to it for like months. And I'm like, I wish you would have just told me back then. Then we could have hashed it out. We might disagree, but then you kind of move on. But yeah, if you Google my name and Joe Mixon, some stuff comes up over time. So, that goes.
Oh, yeah?
I was close, but that was a different circumstance. I was yelling
what
from
happened?
the crowd.
Wait, what? Come again?
I
just got
hammered
Joe
and
Mixon.
went to a TCU Oklahoma game and was yelling at Joe Mixon. There was like a video. I don't know if you heard.
I do not. No,
of him.
Oh, yeah, no. But Joe's doing well in Houston, so I think we finished the year out fine.
Yeah.
But anyways, this was a lot of fun, guys. Thank y'all. It's honestly, it's an honor. Y'all do just such awesome stuff. Crazy seeing Dan in person for the first time.
What'd you think?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I heard you on. You were on with us when I wasn't here once.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, but I listened to that, and it was fantastic.
No, thank you. So,
see you, buddy.
Let's do this again
I'm
sometime.
gonna give you an out.
All right.
Yeah.
There's
There
the
he
great
goes.
Ben
See
Baby.
Ben. Good to see you.
Go read his fine work on ESPN. Just don't let the dogs out. That's all.
Yeah, I don't really care on the playoff. If I had one opinion at all, it would just be that the automatic bye thing for conference champions is really weird. Like, if you just looked at the way that they have these teams seeded, but you gave the top four the automatic first-round bye, it would look fine.
But yeah, the 12 seed has a bye.
It's just insane.
Right.
I mean, it's like it's one of those things that I don't even really understand in spirit. Because you've already achieved the idea that you get to be in a playoff by saying you're the highest ranked fifth team and you're a conference champion. You're in. It just means you can't. It just shouldn't mean that you just get an automatic first round bye. But I don't know. I'm super excited. I know the whole devalue the season, but I had a ton of fun watching college football this year. I feel like we had a lot of great games, and I don't know.
I mean, it's fun now. And it's fun arguing over 11 and 12 and 13 and 4. Should Alabama have been in? Because it's what we had before, but it was with 4, right? 4 and 5. Wasn't last year a big example? Florida State.
Florida State, yeah.
And the year before, Alabama.
But it does seem like it's not going to be fun if an 11 seed wins the national championship someday.
Man, I don't know.
You think that'll make it better?
I mean, I think that's how it works with college basketball.
I mean, isn't that that's the point of the playoffs?
And dude,
if you want the 1 seed to win, then don't have playoffs.
The question is, what's the point is, you want the best team in college football to be crowned national champion.
Do you?
You don't?
Well, I mean, no sport has that. It's all this team that is the best at the end, other than European soccer. Like, playoffs exist to make money.
Right. In general, it had been the NBA was the most.
Right. And I would say it probably still is pretty close to that. There's just 6 teams now instead of 3. But
and it is usually, like even in basketball, it's usually among the top half of the seeding. There's no 15 seed that's ever come and won the whole thing.
Right, but they also go to 64.
Like an 8 seed is very, very rare to get up there. I don't even know the highest seed or the lowest seed to ever win.
Man, I'm just saying that if you tell me that all of a sudden,
let's say Indiana wins, you'd be like,
that would suck.
Okay,
yeah, that's what I mean.
But that's also because Indiana is one of the most boring, historically one of the most boring teams in the sport. If Arizona State with Scatabo goes on a run and they actually are, that's a great story and it would be very exciting.
Arizona State has a bye. That seems weird.
Did you watch that kid? I'm sorry, I was not familiar with your game, Mike Allstott Jr. Holy shit. I'm telling you. They're making new whites.
Yeah.
The game has changed, boys. The game has changed significantly.
Is he running back?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And he's not Christian McCaffrey. He's not Cooper DeJean, secondary white. This is a big MFer who runs like he's freaking Barry Sanders. And he's got a mullet. And his dad's all tatted up in the stands. I'm telling you, if Arizona State were to go on a run, then it'll be exciting. What I worry more about is if Oregon and Ohio State just destroy everybody that they play, that every higher seed just wins by 20. And then you're like, well, why are we even doing this? Like, it happens that way until we get to the Final Four. Because, like, right now, I'm pretty sure Texas is a 13-point favorite against Clemson. So,
and they should be.
And if that's what happens in the first quarterfinals, we're all fired up for it, and it's all 2 touchdown wins, that is what's going to suck.
Yeah, I think they need to reseed.
Yeah, that's what I would do.
Well, go 1 through 16, and then each round reseed.
Or 12?
Or whatever.
Okay,
But, yeah, looking at Texas's run, Clemson, and then Arizona State, that's easy. But then Ohio State's got to go through. Or I don't know. I think that it could be mapped better to where, the juggernauts don't play until the very end.
Yeah. That would make a lot more sense. Yeah, the two sides of the Alabama SMU thing are if SMU was left out, then they would stop playing a conference championship. Right?
You're right.
And Alabama's saying...
Well, isn't there an argument for that anyway?
Yeah, but
the money that they get with the conference championship,
Yeah, but you could look and see that, the Oregon-Penn State game was for the bye, as was Georgia and Texas. So maybe there is a slight incentive there if you want the bye.
How many Big Ten teams? 5?
3.
Yeah, I was going to say just 3, right?
3?
Indiana, Notre Dame, Ohio State.
Well, not Notre Dame.
Yeah.
Okay.
Did I say Notre Dame?
Yeah, Ohio State, Penn State, Indiana.
There you go. Yeah, I love it. I'm very excited for those home site games. Was actually looking last night at, can I get to Pennsylvania? That place is way further away from any airport than you think it is.
What place?
To Happy Valley.
You would go to an SMU game?
I'm telling you this right now. I am going to try to go to a first-round playoff game starting next year, every year.
So my daughter...
I think it'd be awesome.
Go to Texas.
My daughter goes to college in New York. She's driving to Penn State so she can drive home with her little buddy for Christmas break from Penn State. But she's driving home in her little buddy's car, and then her buddy goes back much earlier than she does, so I'm going to have to fly her back. I was just looking yesterday at how to get to Penn State. You're right.
It's like 3 hours away.
3 hours away from Philly, an hour and a half from something else, but then there is a local... If you fly United, you could fly into State College, but you'll have to get a connecting flight somewhere and probably leave at 6 a.m. But
this is going to happen.
You can get there.
Most big schools are pretty close to an airport, but when you make it a 12-team playoff where these are the stipulations, there are going to be games at places where you're like, how do I get to Pullman, Washington?
Right.
Or Wherever. It's 3 hours. It's not flying to Atlanta, Arlington, or Miami.
No, there was always a battle flying to Conference USA games.
For you.
Texas Clemson will be sweet.
Why don't y'all go?
There's a lot going on there. I want to do this every year, and I'm serious. I think this would be a good dude's trip to go to different college campuses and have an excuse to go.
Yeah, let's do
it's
that.
Like the biggest atmosphere you could imagine. And this one kind of jumped up on me. But I don't know. I think that'd be really, really cool. But Texas Clemson, that's got storylines for days. Clemson's quarterback went to Westlake. Ton of his teammates play for Texas. Quinn and Klubnik have actually played before in a state title game, a Westlake South Lake Carroll game. Dude, I'm so up and down on him.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
He's got all the talent in the world, and he seems like a good leader, but there's just so many plays where I'm like, what the hell were you thinking? And it might just be that he's been hurt all year.
Who? Quinn?
Yeah.
I think he's got to go somewhere and sit if he's going to go in the draft.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much. He's already down to what? At least QB 3 or 4.
He's no longer thought of as a first-round pick, right?
You know how this goes. Not right now.
He's still like the third best quarterback in the draft.
And then eventually he'll
Maybe
end up
super late, so they have an option on him. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I bet he'll still go in the first.
Okay, so that's why quarterbacks might get picked in the first round to make sure they can have that extra year.
That's why you trade up,
especially because he's going to be sitting.
Jordan Love.
Yeah, okay.
But he's also got a huge opportunity here, although he might not play anybody until the semifinal.
Wait, Oregon is in the Big Ten.
Damn, you're right.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
That one's been jamming Blake up all year.
Sucks.
There's now 4. And Arizona State's in the Big 12, of course.
Of course, yeah.
Did only
we all know that. So Big Ten beat SEC as far as teams in.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay. Yeah, big time.
Yeah, because Ole Miss, Alabama, South Carolina were all around there, but there was another game. We can get back to this too, but I was watching a little bit of Dan's triple play, which was
yeah.
Oh, Ohio U, the
Ohio
MAC.
Bobcats.
That's right. I forgot.
The real OU.
I forgot that I won that triple play.
I had no, you didn't.
This morning I was like, what did I pick? And because I had written down to pick the Cardinals over the Seahawks. And I was like, oh, damn, I lost my triple play. And then you're right. I didn't forget on Saturday.
Well, I was watching it because it was on.
Yeah.
I was doing background stuff of like
Maction.
It was getting a little Saturday afternoon Maction.
I'm sure when I went to college there, we never beat Miami of Ohio. That was what we considered our rival.
Yeah.
But Miami didn't. I don't think they considered Ohio their rival because we were always 1-10 or.
I didn't even know Miami of Ohio existed until Ben Roethlisberger. Like, that took a really long time for 16, 15-year-old me to wrap my head around.
It's the cradle of coaches, Jake.
I now know that.
Like 1 million coaches have come from there, or at least like 4 or 5.
So I was watching that game, and there was an audio clip that really made me laugh. It's something we've talked about before here on the show. A couple things. The Taco Bell Liv Moss student section, which I don't know. This is hard to explain, but one time I was watching a game with a friend who doesn't watch football at all. We were hanging out at someone's house late at night, and he was like really confused by this. Like, they're like, all right, these students in the Taco Bell Liv Moss student section, they compete all year. And he just got really invested in, like, what does that mean? What is this? I'm like, I don't know. They show it every game, and I've never really thought about it. So every time I see it, I laugh. But also, then they started talking about Mexican pizzas.
Oh, darn it. That's my bad.
I only hit play so that it would be your bad.
There's the Taco Bell Liv Moss student section all season long. Student sections across the country compete to be the Taco Bell Liv Moss student section of the year. Download the Taco Bell app to learn more.
I quit Taco Bell for a while when they stopped making the Mexican pizzas.
All right, so right now, anybody
we're doing a live read there, dude.
Hey, they paid for this.
We don't need you to tell us how the stuff that sucks about Taco Bell.
One time I had a really bad experience, and I used the Taco Bell app to tell them about it. So
I thought you were going to I thought the original focus was going to be that student sections compete with each other, because I'm wondering how do you score that?
Well, that was my friend Wade's point. He's like, I just took it for granted. I hear it every week, and I'm like, I don't fucking know, dude. It's just a promo.
But yeah,
and he's like, well, so what? Do they have a playoff?
Are there a panel of judges?
Is there a meet?
Yeah.
Like, how do they do this? And I'm like, I don't know.
Are there arguments over who was let in? Wait, no, we're only the 8th seed.
Yeah, but
okay, but now
back to
here we
Bob,
are.
The live read guy.
Yeah, here we are. Hey, you know what I hate about Taco Bell?
He does have a positive spin on it, though.
To learn more,
I quit Taco Bell for a while when they stopped making the Mexican pizzas. I came back when they went back to them, started producing them again. I'm back.
Producing?
And I'm happy.
Yeah, so it sounds like he's talking about like a microchip.
Yeah.
Went back to them, started producing them again. I'm back, and I'm happy.
because when you think of Mexican food, you think of pizza.
Yeah, I think of that Mexican pizza, and I can't eat just one. I got to order two.
1:01 to go, first half.
Now the play-by-play guy kind of shit on it.
Yeah, when you think of pizza.
When you think of Mexican food, you think of pizza.
Now, but the part that I really wanted you guys to focus on is the end where I've done this before. Because, as I said earlier, when I decide that it's time to eat poorly, I go Kobayashi. Like, I'm not having a tasteful meal at Taco Bell. And you can tell this guy says, yeah, and I can't just have one. I got to have at least. Like, he wants to say 3, but then he's like, that's crazy, but that is what I eat.
Yeah.
And he just kind of trails off with 2. And I've been in this situation before.
And I'm happy.
Because when you think of Mexican food, you think of pizza.
Yeah, I think of that Mexican pizza, and I can't eat just one. I got to order 2.
1:01 to go, first half.
You get a little sheepish when you realize you're about to say, I have a $27 at Taco Bell every time I go, and it's 3 of them are Mexican pizzas. The whole call, just great stuff there.
Got myself a nice black bean crunch wrap on the way home yesterday.
Did you?
That's right. There's one right by the ballpark.
They've leveled up, man. They got
Yeah, I hit one on the way home from the Christmas party, but you can't get out of there for $5.41 anymore.
Biden.
Yeah, I can't wait for those prices to go down next year.
I know, right?
It's going to be awesome.
So the other thing I have for you from watching college football this weekend is actually a video, but we've all seen the ads, and you could narrate it a little bit. It is for Veterans Credit Union, Navy Federal Credit Union. I'm pretty sure college football, maybe the NFL, are about half kept alive by USAA and Navy Federal Credit Union. So this spot is a Navy Federal Credit Union spot, and if you've seen these, what they do is it's a concept of, I don't know where I'd be without Navy Federal Credit Union. And then they apply that literally, and they have some sort of alternate scene. In this case, it's a guy who got his truck through Navy Federal Credit Union, and then I don't know where I'd be without it. And he's in a car wash by himself that's running, like without a vehicle. So if you want to play that. Marine sticker.
First wash since I bought it.
Still can't believe this thing is yours.
No. Navy Federal Credit Union gave me such an affordable car loan, the rest was easy. I mean, I can't imagine where I'd be without them.
Military guy can't imagine. Now, far off look. Oh, my God, I'm in a car wash. I don't know, I'm not even in a car. He says, oh, there's going to be hot steam and oil. Oh, hot wax. Oh, he's screaming. Oh! Comes back, too, in his truck in the car wash. And I don't know about you guys,
our members
but it struck me as odd that this military-themed credit union uses fucking flashbacks as the concept for what is happening in their ads. Like, a guy has a psychological break, remembers some sort of terrible memory or conjures it up, and then all of a sudden is screaming before he shakes back to life.
It is cliche.
It's extremely cliche, and one that I thought that the people at the room would have been like, what if we avoided psychological breaks?
That's awesome. NFL talk today, if we are to slide into that. is brought to you by Qualis Roofing and Construction. Qualis, is it QualisGC.com?
Mm-hmm.
What's GC stand for again? Like General Construction? Anyway, that's not in their copy points at all. But Qualis Roofing and Construction brought to life in order to change the game in the roofing industry. Their goal was to bring a level of customer service and community that the residents of Dallas have yet to experience with roofers. They believe building relations is just as important as building a sturdy, stylish roof for their customers. So, like, maybe you'll get to know them so well, like you can name them like the godfather of your kid or something like that. Or,
yeah.
You know, maybe, do you think they're trying to build relations that deep? That's my concern.
I think that their customer service knows no bounds.
All I know is that they put the roof right here on this den of inequality that we sit in and broadcast in. They fix me up in my house. They will do the same for you. They'll work with the insurance companies for you, so you kind of don't have to deal with all the beating. You know how many calls you have to make usually, but they will do all of that for you. You end up paying, or we ended up paying just the deductible, you know, so nothing really out of pocket. Got a whole new, brand new roof. It's great.
Yeah, call them today. They'll give you a free, no-obligation inspection. There's no reason really not to. And, yeah, they will they're going to – tell me the promo part of it again. You'll get a free T-shirt if they come out and do an inspection. If you go with Qualis for a roof.
They will give you a 690 sit-in.
690 sit-in.
They will give you a sit-in. So we've had people sitting up here joining the show because they got a roof with Qualis Roofing. So go to QualisGC.com. Let's see here. Oh, NFL football. Let's talk football.
NFL.
If the playoffs started today.
Oh, Mr.
We're getting there, right?
The playoffs started today. No.
We're getting that picture is clearing up.
Okay, well, it still says Cowboys in the hunt, so you guys can't have it both ways.
Well, I'm saying they are in the hunt. And I think the Commanders game could be for every marble if Washington continues playing like they've been playing.
You're saying for Dallas, you're saying?
Yeah.
See, I was thinking over the weekend, and we'll get to their game later, but I was actually thinking that the most hilarious Cowboys thing ever would be to have like a really convincing, resounding win tonight. Offense stays rolling on the ground, Micah's everywhere, and then they lose to the Panthers.
That's probably what will happen.
The cheeky little Panthers.
That's probably what will happen because they are kind of sneaking up on people.
Yeah.
You see that Panthers game yesterday against Philly?
Philly not happy afterward. A.J. Brown had a lot of bitching and moaning to do.
No, mistakes at the end of that game cost Carolina. I want to play some audio/video in a second, but after the Xavier Legette drop of a beautiful pass, that was on 2nd and 4 at the Philadelphia 32 with 52 seconds left. So the final score was 6 points, 22-16. Carolina driving down the field at the end of the game. But they are Carolina. So after that, they get nothing on 3rd and 4. So now it's 4th and 4. Delay of game. As I don't know what was going on. Bryce Young is clapping, like for 5 seconds, and they wouldn't snap it. And then so they just Carolina'd themselves out of that game.
Or they did exactly what they need to do.
For the number 1 overall draft pick, which they hope to get for like the 3rd year in a row.
I mean, I don't know if they're going to get one, but any separation they can get, they need. Because Vegas and New York seem very determined.
One of our knockout guys had Philly.
Oh.
Dang.
Wow.
So
one of them didn't?
Yeah, they split up this week. One had the Bucks, one had the Eagles, and I was watching like, uh-oh, might have a winner here.
Wow. Boy, I bet he was shitting. Anyway. There was a big drop, and it was by one of our favorites, Xavier Legette.
Legette. Mm-hmm.
In fact, Rob, let's introduce him first before I play the audio, just if people don't know who this is. So this was, you remember in training camp, the Carolina media kind of they discovered him like draft night. But in training camp, they were doing bits. Like we like to go do bits with the players, and they decided, okay, this is a good guy to do bits with. So let's do that first one. It's the weather report one, isn't it? Yeah.
What's going on, Pastor Nation, man? This is Xavier Liga here, man. I'm just here with a weather report. It's a little bit cloudy out here, a little bit of rain. It's been raining all morning, but we're really excited to practice in that weather here, man. Good weather, it ain't too hot. Let's do it. Keep fine.
You remember this guy?
Oh, yeah, of course.
I'll never forget him.
Yeah, he's, it helps he's from South Carolina.
Yeah.
Is he really? I thought he was.
Interview. Who I'm talking to?
Boston.
Xavier Liga, Mother South Carolina native. Okay, my boy in the spot, man. What position you play? Wide receiver. What's your number? 17. What school you from again? I went to the University of South Carolina. Oh.
His lips don't move.
He's country black boomhauer.
All right, let's
some light questions, all right? How old are you, Xavier? I'm 23. You're 23 years old. You're number 17 and you're 23 years old. If you was born 10 years ago, how old would you be? Man, shit. Hey, cut the camera. Hey, just give me your best answer, doggy.
No.
I got another one more. How many months in a year got 28 days?
I love this one.
Only one. Which month is that? February. Are you 100% sure? Yeah. And you going with that? I'm going with February. All right, you my boy, so I'm going to give you one more chance. How many months in a year got 28 days? February. Just February? Yeah. No other month? No other month got 28 days.
I'm sticking with February.
You sticking with February. That's why you my dog. But you wrong, though.
Don't really get the bit, but yeah,
All
he just
months
wanted
have
to
28
keep saying
days.
February over and over.
Anyway, beautiful pass. Really a perfect pass. The perfect pass. Diving, he appears to catch the ball, but kind of rolled over it, rolled into the end zone. He thought he had caught the ball, and then he did not. Like the ball, it was pretty clear on replay, like very, very clear that he didn't catch the ball. But I wanted to play you some of the post-game audio. And this is where I think media sucks oftentimes. But so this is where all the media around him, they kind of have one thing to talk about, that he dropped that ball that time. But they're going to try and work every question about that in a different way.
Xavier, can you talk us through that last play, or next to last play?
Shit, I thought I caught that bit. And then I just watched the video. They just put the replay up. I ain't know it hit the ground. You gotta make the play.
You felt like you had control before hitting the ground.
Yeah.
Okay, so he thought he had it. Like, real time. That's kind of interesting because, like, you'll see Luka do it, right? Oh, you got to replay that. You got to, and then, like, clearly when we're watching it, it's like, no, dude, you fouled or you got fouled or something like that. It was really, really clear on the replay. So that just goes to show they can't always trust the guy on the field to say, because right after it, he jumped up, thought he had it. And then I thought this was kind of a dumb question. I think it's the next one.
When you saw the replay, did you still think you caught it?
Okay. Like, he watched the replay. If you watch this replay, dude, it's very clearly, like, the whole ball is on the ground. And
No, I see. As soon as I make contact with the ground, they pop that.
You don't handle that kind of stuff very well. How do you kind of move on from it?
So you got to play better. That's all it is to it.
I like this.
Oh my God. We've seen you make big plays. How do you just explain what happened there?
Like, don't you think this is ridiculous? How do you explain what happened?
How do you move on?
I was diving, and I tried to catch it, and then I didn't
be a really
catch
tough
it.
ball.
You guys were driving down the field. Were you and the whole offense so confident that you were going to punch that into the end zone?
You know what? No. God. Was not. Didn't think we were going to, but
yeah, we're 3-9 heading into this one, so obviously we lose and don't make plays a lot more than we do.
Thielen said that when he gets a chance to talk to you, he's going to say, "Look, all of us who play this position have had critical drives."
Now he's answering a question for him.
My whole career, man, I done had.
See, like, what are you going to say to somebody?
Did you feel like this was a game, like it could have been a real sick game? We start that drive.
Oh, my God. I can't take any more of this. I feel like I'm being waterboarded.
One more.
She told us a couple weeks ago after that, I think it was the Chiefs game, that you texted Bryce that night and said, like,
Bryce,
I'm going to make that play for you. What do you kind of tell Bryce after this one and that play at the end specifically?
I got to take them to.
So you said a couple weeks ago that you told Bryce Young you were going to make that play next time, and then you didn't.
What will you say now?
Well, I mean, what are you going to tell him now? How's he going to believe you when you text him again?
I feel like,
Poor guy.
you may have to tell him that you're a terrible football player, a piece of shit. Your thoughts? Gosh, that's so grating and pompous.
I'm here with X.
God, how do you move through this? Anyway,
Philly wins.
Yeah, Philly wins. Carolina.
What are they now?
Should
11-2.
2 losses, yeah.
Okay, so they're still possible for that 1 seed.
They're not playing well, though, man. Like, we went from everybody being really worried about them, and I just kept giving I think they're fine. They're fine. I know they've got some really close wins. They're fine. Jalen Hurts has been ass lately. Like, they've got Saquon carrying them, but he holds the ball too long, he takes a lot of sacks, and he's winning throwing for like 130 yards. This is not the guy from a couple years ago. Like, basically imagine this. Imagine if you started the season over and Dak was the Eagles quarterback. I think it would be about the same. And I think it'd be about the same offensively if the Cowboys had a running back that was playing like Saquon this year. Jalen Hurts is not why they are winning.
Wait, you're saying Dak is also not playing well this year, so Philly would be the same with Dak or Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, and I think if Dak at the start of this year had Saquon on his team,
the Cowboys would be winning similarly.
I don't know if they'd have 11 because the defenses are still different, but Jalen Hurts reminds me a lot of Dak right now, where they're not winning because of him.
They're
very gettable?
Yeah, well, I just wonder, are they holding back a little?
It's possible.
Like, you clearly would rather have a 10-win team that you don't feel great about as far as winning, the Super Bowl.
Sure. They just don't look like, when you watch the Lions play, those teams feel like they're in a different universe to me.
Lions
it's pretty much just the Lions, though.
I don't know. Bills these days?
NFC.
Oh, okay.
I just don't know that there's anybody else on that level. And Philadelphia may be the best of the rest. But I'll tell you what.
How about Minnesota?
Minnesota with the game of Darnold's career. I love the NFL for just being able to produce storylines like that. Like a Vikings Falcons game where time is running out for Kirk. Fun rap music Kirk is turning into Cole's Kirk very quickly.
What was his thing last year? ACL? Achilles. And that was Aaron Rodgers too, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, the two old quarterbacks coming off Achilles have actually looked like you would have thought 10 years ago. Pre-existence of Tom Brady and LeBron at this age.
Cousins hasn't thrown a touchdown in a month. Got four straight weeks.
Yeah, they're about to go Penix.
They might.
I did pick that game as far as my knockout, but as far as betting on it in any of my leagues or anything, I wanted to stay away because it was Cousins returning to Minnesota.
He got
never
booed.
Know. Did he really?
Yeah. It's like, well, why? You didn't want him either, right? I mean, at some point you were both
it wasn't like
tired
he
of this.
Spurned their offer or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, he would have gone back there in a second.
They may play Penix, but they're not going to do it until they're eliminated. Because they're still tied for first, aren't they?
That's another game I did want to mention at least.
They're one back, and
Division's bad.
Yeah, but they beat the Bucks.
They beat the Bucks twice. And that's so Tampa won pretty easily yesterday. That's one I did win in my little gambling league that I'm in.
I just want to say this real quick. They're not going to go to Penix until they are eliminated because they can't start Penix next year.
Yeah, because Cousins' money.
They will have like a $60 million dead cap by moving on from Kirk Cousins this offseason. On the flip side of that, you have Sam Darnold, who has had some down weeks for sure, but he's 27 years old.
I wonder why.
Do they want to re-up him for like a Baker-type deal, even though they have J.J. McCarthy waiting in the wings?
That's what I was going to say.
First-round pick.
The Baker-type deal. So why can you not have a Baker-type deal with a guy on his second contract with the team he's with?
Because they have to fail first. Because if you've already been good enough to warrant a second contract – I mean, I see what you're saying, and logically, it's a great question.
Like, everybody is not Burrow, Mahomes, and Josh Allen.
Yeah.
Dak, I might even throw into this.
It's most of them.
Yeah, like the mid, whatever, the good quarterbacks that you need, but do you need them at $70 million a year? Why not $30 million a year, $25 million a year?
I mean, if whatever the going rate for that was a few years ago were the case, Jared Goff would have still been a Ram. Like, if they had been able to sign him as like, hey, we think you're about the 12th best quarterback instead of having to pay him like number one.
I don't know, because they did pay him number one. But at that time, it was $20 million a year.
But what I'm saying, though, is that whatever the comparable thing for a Baker deal at that time would have been, less.
They would have tried to do that.
And he would have stayed. They probably wouldn't have ever traded for Stafford.
Yeah.
It's that these teams have to, because it's their guy, overpay, which is weird because usually that's not how it is.
Which would help players elsewhere because they still have to spend to the cap.
Yeah.
And so you could actually make your team better. Because Darnold, yes, that'd be a great comp, a Baker deal. What's he getting, 25 a year?
That might be,
but
it might get up to like 30.
As guaranteed as, as Dax or Mahomes or whatever.
That's going to be a really interesting one. Because, I mean, they did draft McCarthy in the first round, right? It was first?
Yeah. And they were really high on him.
Speaking of guys that can jump up in draft season and the playoff.
Let's take a look at the Buccaneers this year because it's kind of amazing. They lose to Atlanta twice, which is what right now that's the difference. You know, that's why Atlanta still has a chance to win that division. They beat Detroit.
Week 2.
They beat Washington, Pat, who's a pretty good team. They beat Philadelphia.
Did they beat the Commanders in week 1?
Yeah.
Okay.
So maybe that doesn't count as much.
Game.
Yeah. But, you know, besides the 2 Atlanta losses, everything else kind of looks like you might expect for them. They're on a 3-game winning streak because they have recently played the Giants, the Panthers, and Las Vegas.
Well, I think they struggled in that stretch where Chris Godwin broke his leg and Mike Evans was out.
And they played Baltimore, Kansas City, San Francisco, and Atlanta in there.
Also close games.
They go to Chargers next week. And then at Dallas, Baker in Dallas.
Sunday Night Football.
Will they flex out of it? Well, no. They're not going to. If Tampa's still into it, like in the playoff hunt, I wonder if the Cowboys lose the next couple, if they'd flex out of it.
Nah, I suppose it's possible. We have to check and see if it's Family Guy night or anything. Or
well, they would still look at
whatever the new reason why America has to watch the Cowboys is.
They would probably still look at the Thanksgiving game and say, Cowboys still are a draw.
Yeah.
No matter what.
Throw a little Baker in there.
Like, why not?
Like we did these numbers with Tommy DeVito or Drew
the
Lock.
Cowboys circling the drain.
Speaking of that, Drew Lock. But we saw his best against Dallas. I think he started 0 for 8.
Yeah.
I've never seen that before. Red Zone was flipping that game on, and I'm like, over 8, huh? An NFL quarterback. It's hard to do.
And Dable is still there, right?
Yeah.
Didn't we have a Dable was fired thing the day after?
Well, you did.
I didn't think I did. Didn't you do that? I didn't get ball sacked on that. I'm not going to wear that one.
No.
I saw that there was the GM and the coach.
Yeah.
And I didn't read it, though.
Oh. Well, maybe I did.
You want to play the banner video real quick? I just like stuff like this. And Malik Neighbors was asked about it after the game. We get the plane pregame flyover. Mr. Mara, enough. Please fix this dumpster fire. I don't know what that costs, the banner and the plane, but I like it.
Don't you extinguish it? How do you fix a fire? You just want it to burn better?
Fix a fire if you're meaning like fix dinner. But if I would say fix a fire, while poorly worded, does mean extinguish.
Okay.
They did ask Malik Neighbors about it, and I think his response was, "I didn't pay for the plane."
He's funny.
Like, look, I know how bad it is
You're
here,
right.
and I ain't pay for the plane. They're gonna get Shedeur.
It'd be great.
It would be.
I'm just like, where are we at the bottom of the standings now?
It's just the Giants in Vegas.
Yeah.
Giants in Vegas.
And I don't know if you know, but Aiden O'Connell got hurt. Minshew's on IR. They're going with Desmond Ridder for their – you want to talk about being gifted a tank. The Giants are like, are you serious?
Yeah, we had to cut our guy.
Yeah.
Okay, there's a lot of 3-win teams, but those are the only 2-win teams.
Yeah.
And the Cowboys are way out of that. The Cowboys are going to end up with what? Pick 18?
Yeah, which is boring.
Just something low enough that you won't really get any impact player.
Yeah, but when you're a team that's as close as they
out
are,
of the playoff,
I don't think you need much. I was actually thinking about that this morning, getting ready for writing an article tomorrow. DeMarvian Overshown. We're all like blown away by this guy. Like, boy, this guy's a playmaker. Look at this. Pick 90. He's a player. More than a special teams guy. Do you know how much better you would feel right now if Mozzie had literally just done that? I gave you nothing in year 1, but in year 2, you thought, look at this guy.
Oh, of course.
If you just had that one guy playing up to, this guy's a future starter plus player, you'd be thinking, all right, got a big lineman, still got, Micah, Sam Williams, and what's left of DeMarcus Ware. Here's Overshown. Still got Diggs, Bland.
Is Overshown from last year's draft?
Yeah, he just didn't play last year.
Okay, so they're going to point to that as far as that draft is a success.
But that's the difference, right? When he's played, he's been awesome.
Yeah.
There was no jump. He was just hurt.
You're right. I just mean timeline-wise, but you're right.
Yeah, the draft pick paying off. Yeah, that would help.
But
it's kind of what you want out of your 1. And 2, Schoonmaker was a second that year.
But all you got to do is say, hey, look, we got a player. It's just like getting Dak. We got a quarterback. Doesn't really matter if Zeke was a bad pick. It should have been the 4th rounder.
Are the Chiefs good?
I don't think so, man.
I give up.
They're 12-1. They're not good? They're 10-0 in one-score games.
Yeah.
10 one-score games ties them with the most in NFL history in a season. The 1980 Cardiac Kids Browns had 9 one-score games. But it's like they win on a doinked field goal.
Doink for the division.
And that's their 3rd different field goal kicker that has won a game for them this year, which is also a record as time expires.
I would say that if it were any other team, and certainly in any other sport, you would be saying this is not going to work. But they've won enough games now to where if they get a bye and they have home field, even if they don't, they're still going to have the best player on the field, or at least close to it, with Josh Allen maybe the only other option. So it doesn't really matter how they got there. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
They're in.
If anybody can turn it up or whatever, like having been there so many times before.
It's not just turn it up, though. It's that they don't have the team that they used to have.
Yeah, and I think the the margins are so thin in the playoffs. I don't know if they can just turn that switch. I'm worried about them.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing Josh Allen and the Bills get to have a little fun.
I know. A three-peat would be cool, though.
It would be. Again, close personal friend of mine, so
You want the best for Patrick.
wanted the best.
Are we discounting the Ravens? Because there's been many times this year I've thought they look like the best team in football.
I think Lamar sucks.
Are we discounting?
Where did this come from?
Watching him play against Philly. I think he's got a real neat trick during the regular season, running around and doing crazy stuff. But in the playoffs, he's not been a good quarterback.
This is heresy.
He hasn't.
All the quarterbacks' numbers go down in the playoffs, except Troy Aikman.
Well, he becomes a very average player in the playoffs.
Had no help.
He's got a lot of help.
He does now.
Do we have any?
I would not take them over the Chiefs or the Bills, though.
How about over the Steelers?
Yeah. Come on.
I know it feels like that, but they're 10-3.
I know, and
they beat up on the Browns this week.
They're always going to have a winning record or close to. I guess always, right? Tomlin hasn't. It's Tomlin.
Right, he's never had a losing record,
even with Devlin Hodges as his quarterback.
What a callback
for a
the
couple
duck
months.
Duck
guy, yeah. But no, I just don't take them. I don't take them that seriously. Let me tell you who I do take seriously as we're jumping around, though. And I'm pretty sure I mentioned this to you guys a couple weeks ago. They have to get in the Rams. The Rams are healthy. They're probably the most healthy they've been since they went to the Super Bowl. And, yeah, Josh Allen put on an MVP-level performance that brought them back in that game.
54 points.
For Josh Allen?
Yeah.
Would he throw himself another touchdown?
No, I think he threw for 340, 3 touchdowns, ran it in a couple times.
Dude, he had a couple scrambles yesterday that were – it's like if it were Pat but fast.
He's got to be lock, right, for the MVP right now?
I think so.
There was some Saquon Barkley buzz.
Yeah. But if you put up games like that in a loss – because a lot of times quarterback, you're like, but if you end up with 12-5 or but no. But the Rams are dangerous, man. That division's falling apart. Hey,
the NFC West is
wasn't
weird.
Just Cliff's fault.
What? Arizona
kind of falling apart.
Yeah, the last couple games, they're way up and down, man.
Yeah,
you don't want to bet on them. San Francisco, of course, is. Just full of injuries, and who'd they beat up this weekend?
The Bears.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Chappie's triple play
and Akash's maybe or someone else's.
Beat down.
Yeah, that division's weird. The Rams could definitely win that division.
Yeah.
Seattle destroyed Arizona, and they're confounding as well. But I would probably, if you had to pick right now, picking Sean McVay's team is not a bad idea.
Stafford's still just ridiculous. He had some throws to Puka yesterday that were
Puka's awesome.
Plus.
Isn't it amazing that they went all in, won their Super Bowl, and have stayed relevant?
Yeah, it's usually not how that works.
Without draft picks.
Right.
It's crazy.
Last year we thought it'd be the year they'd fall off. Then it's like, okay, now it's this year, and they lost Aaron Donald.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. You guys want to take a break?
No.
Yes,
okay.
I would like to.
Oh.
No.
Well, you said no, so I was going to go no, and we'll just move on to something else.
Y'all can keep doing the show. I'm going to go pee.
Okay. All right.
The Dumb Zone.
You're listening to The Dumb Zone.
It's Lindsey Sterling, Blake.
See, she takes old classics, holiday theme,
and improves it.
But she has an electric violin.
Today's show brought to you in part by Ownwell. Ownwell helps homeowners save on property taxes. Instead of spending hours filing your property tax appeal, have you ever done that? What a beating.
I'll tell you how big of a beating it was. My wife tried it one time and got about 70% of the way through and just gave up, which I think is their goal.
Yeah, instead of spending hours doing that and then losing your appeal in the end anyway, or like getting this, sign up in 3 minutes with Ownwell. It's great.
It is great, and you don't pay unless they save you money. Now, you might be thinking, all right, what's the catch? They're probably going to charge me way more than the other guys. No. They charge less, and you don't pay until or unless they win, and they have an 86% appeal win rate with Ownwell.
What's the call to action?
Call to action is ownwell.com/thedumbzone. Ownwell.com/thedumbzone. They call that a unique URL.
Hey, do you want to mention the Juan Soto contract?
Yeah, I feel like we're supposed to.
Every time one of these things happens, it's still incredible. The average is $51 million a year.
Yeah.
$765 million, 15-year deal. $75 million in a signing bonus. Apparently, that's because his home state is Florida, and if he gets a bunch of money in a signing bonus, it can be paid there and better for taxes. I don't know.
Yeah,
according to baseball people.
Yeah, it's the signing bonus they pay you in your home state, at least what I've read, and then obviously your game to game, you pay wherever you play the game.
So in 2025 alone, he'll make about $120 million. So that's year one. No deferred money, as the Mets have played that game before, as they continue to pay Bobby Bonilla. But here's the great bit. So Juan Soto is 25 years old and already in line for a free agent contract. Boris is his agent. So he not only got him, you know what? So wait, what am I making? $51 million a year? How about a suite at the ballpark for my family? Done. So now they don't have to just sit with all the plebes, the wives they can go sit in their own suite.
Or just, have to pay for it.
Right. You could just pay for it.
Yeah. I always love, what's the total value?
They say it's $500,000 for a year.
Okay.
Yeah, but that's the same as Rugned wanting horses or Roy Oswalt wanting a tractor.
Well, it is and it isn't, because it's an incentive, or not an incentive, but it's something thrown on top. But a horse you have to go find. Like, this is like giving somebody a gift card to the pro shop, as opposed to saying, like, why don't you just take the team discount?
Yeah, we'll just sell one less of these.
They don't just have tractors.
Yeah.
It's a funny thing. But
the best bit, an opt-out after 5 years. So if this is not going well for him, or if he's like somehow even better than they think he would be, and the financials of baseball, which I just can't, I don't know, man.
Yeah, you're really getting hung up on this.
There's a lot of talk about that. Yeah, we're at the ballpark yesterday, and I'm talking to baseball people. Dave Raymond and Jared Sandler and
Bassick.
Eric Nadel and Mike Bassick, and it's like you're just talking about the TV deal. And where are the Rangers going to be this year? Wait, can you answer that for me first?
No.
Are they out of? Is Bally one more year, or is it done?
No, the Rangers do not currently have. They have not announced their broadcast situation.
And you think about how, don't we really believe it was all overinflated previously by these cable networks buying, a 10-year deal for $500 billion or million or however much the Rangers were getting on their local TV deal. Well, now they're going to find out what they're actually worth locally, and it's nothing near that. So we keep waiting. When do these contracts, is there ever a time then when they regress?
So I don't have the first clue of how to break down the economics of this. But I have, for basically since I saw John Wall get $53 million a year, I've been thinking the sports that have a cap, and it's all related to, in this case, basketball-related income, that they're going to come down because they're just going to have to reset the cap lower in the same way that they did when they signed a big national TV deal and it went up, and that's why Wesley Matthews' deal was not as bad as people thought it was, where it jumped like $20 million, $30 million in a year. I think it's going to come down. But in baseball, I think really what you're doing is just cutting into the profit of ownership because they're making a ton of money. So if all you really have to do is say, okay, well, we are making less on TV. What if we owners just made, instead of however much, we made 90% of that? And that other 10% covers the loss that we get in TV revenue. Still make a ton of money, and we can still be a really good team, which may pay for itself. Does that make sense?
Because the team value goes up?
Yeah.
In the end?
Yeah, and by being good.
But most of the money comes from TV.
Yeah, but the profit goes to the owner. Whatever's left on the bottom line, the ownership group takes, and that's their money. Now, it goes into the value of the franchise, but what I'm saying, though, is in a cap sport, it's not going to matter how much you want to spend. The league is going to set that. In an uncapped sport, why couldn't an owner just say, this year I thought I was going to make $100 in profit. Why don't I make $90 in profit?
Well, and that's why the owners all want a cap sport.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't get it
the
either,
owners don't want to have to say, I'll spend some of my prop. No, they don't want to spend any of the
profit.
Pie.
The pie is preset. The Mavs have won 11 of 12.
Incredible.
And I was getting a lot of heat whenever I kept saying they went 1-4 in the previous 5, and one of them was a loss to Utah. But the other 3 were close, like last possession games, and they were against good teams. And also, they were without P.J. Washington for those 5 games. He came back 12 games ago. They're 11-1 in those games, with their one loss being an overtime game in Miami. He's very important. How old do you think he is?
PJ?
Yeah.
30.
He is 26. Maybe 27. Let's see. He is a year older than Luka.
Oh, wow.
So their timelines match up perfectly. He's 26. Doesn't turn 27 until late next year.
What a pickup that was.
Right?
They had to give up a first, too, right?
Yeah, he's not going anywhere. That's the type of guy that you can see that he plays so well with Luka. So, yeah, you got concerns about Kyrie getting older. By the way, he looks way younger and way faster when he cut his hair. I think we can all agree.
Yeah.
The afro, not afro, but, the grown out. You can see more of his gray. Yeah. He looks like young Kyrie to me right now. But, I had to remind myself, like, hey, PJ's young. He's a prime running mate for Luka. And they were so bad on the glass in those games that he missed. And now in the last, whatever it is, 12 games, they're a top 5 rebounding team in offensive rebounding, middle of the pack on defense. How old do you think Daniel Gafford is, Dan?
I was going to guess they're both around the same age.
He's 26.
So I would have said 30.
Yeah.
Most of the guys are mid-20s.
It's great.
Only Kyrie is the only old, right?
Yeah. Clay.
Clay, obviously.
Dwight Powell and Maxi Kleber have been the same age the entire time they've been here to me, so I really couldn't tell you.
They've also, what I also think about them? They've kind of also been the same player. I'm sure they're not as good as they were 5 years ago, but I don't think the difference is that significant.
Just being asked to do less.
And that's my point.
Yeah.
Is how good this team is that they just acquired better players than them, and they're just pushing them back. And that's what we used to say when you were starting Dwight Powell in a playoff game. You were like, boy, if this wasn't the case, can you imagine what this team would be? How good is Luka that he's dragged them this far with Dwight Powell and Maxey getting 40 minutes a night in the playoffs?
Preach.
And now what are they? If
Now-
they even get in the game at all, you just don't need them.
They're there if someone or usually two people get hurt.
Yeah.
You said this last week. We were watching the game thinking, okay, if Maxey can just hit 5 threes, we'll have a chance.
Yeah.
I think it's
Utah series. They're super, super deep and talented. Their record right now probably should be 3 or 4 games better, which would mean they'd have one of, if not the best record in the league, outside of, the Cavs.
How about the Cavs? They lost a few.
They did.
Didn't
I have
they
one.
lose like 2 to Atlanta
Yes, but they
somehow.
Atlanta's not bad. What is Atlanta's record?
Might have lost 1 to Boston.
13-12. So I played you guys a Devin Harris misspeak last week. This is from Mavs TV.
That's the 90th career game where Luka's had at least 30 points and 10 boards. Ever since he set foot on an NBA floor, Devin, the numbers that Luka Doncic has put up, they've just been incredible.
Stat monster can affect the gaze in so many ways. Just an incredible talent.
It affects the gaze in so many ways.
Yeah.
Now, this one is not as egregious, given the whole history of the AIDS gay community being infected with HIV historically, at least from public perception. But I think he just has real trouble with the word games. This is from Saturday night's game.
Hold on. So he was trying to say games?
Yeah. Can affect the games.
Okay, I thought he was trying to say infect the like your vision, the gaze.
That would be a really deep and also still nonsensical term. That might actually be worse
gaze.
on your part. I know, but I think it's easier to imagine that he just screwed up affect and infect and got lazy with the word games than that he invented a new colloquialism, which is he's a player who really infects your visual gaze.
Does that? Yeah.
You should stop now.
I don't know. I think we should call him.
I think he's
going to be at the zoo Friday.
Yeah. I think he just has a tough time with that word, the G word.
Played at 2 different junior colleges and 2 different D1 schools. He's guarding Luka. Davion Mitchell bracketed Luka with Mobo, and outside on the kickout, Kyrie for 3.
Did I mention he's one of the best late game passes we've ever seen?
We have seen that.
All right.
He's one of the best late gay passers we've ever seen.
4-3.
Did I mention he's one of the best late gay passes we've ever seen?
We have
late gay passes even. Look, I'm watching every one of these games, so I'm tracking this stuff for you guys. Devin Harris has a hard time saying the word game, and he doesn't say fame instead.
Not an early gay passer.
No, late gay. Late gay. His family was upset, so he had to keep it to himself. The Mavs are awesome, and tomorrow night is our big NBA Cup quarterfinal matchup. I know you guys are fired up.
I don't care.
Well, it's Mavs Thunder, so just take it as that. Yeah.
No, looking forward to post-NFL season.
Yeah.
Like never before, really.
Dude, it's going to be fun.
All right.
Here's Jake with the Dumb Zone News.
The news is brought to us by Franco & Franco Personal Injury Attorneys. If you get in an accident, they are there for you at 214-333-3333. Yeah, they actually have people on staff that used to work for the insurance companies, so they understand how their minds work. They understand that they are not there for you. Dealing with an insurance company can be a huge beating. And if you are the victim of a personal injury, Franco & Franco will help you get what is coming to you. So thank you to Franco & Franco for sponsoring today's news.
Thank you so much to the Frankels and their entire team. Now, this was not my top news story an hour ago, but we have an update on the news story that is gripping a nation as a person of interest in the fatal shooting of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson, BT, as his coworkers called him, has been ID'd and found after a large manhunt.
Wait, now who's found?
The person of interest in this crime.
They're not sure.
He was found in Altoona, Pennsylvania. which is apparently a few hundred miles from New York City. His name, and this is not one of the fake names that he was using, is Luigi Mangione.
Oh, no.
That's his real name.
He's 26 years old, of Towson, Maryland. He was found with, let me go through a gun, a silencer, 4 fake IDs with names used during the killer's stint in New York City, and a manifesto. He is a 26-year-old, like I said. He was valedictorian of his high school class. He went to an Ivy League school, and he was a very, very smart young man. And they've now found his Twitter account where he had, he's about what you would expect. Basically imagine what you know about me from like my late teens, like 17, 18, 19, up to my mid-20s, if I were also smart. So he's got a lot of stuff in here about, he might have thought the Unabomber had some good ideas. He's got a lot of commentary on how society is actually set up to make you more anxious these days. And the answer to that is just prescribing antidepressants, which then just keeps another industry alive rather than us actually addressing the things that make us anxious. He posted a review of The Anxious Generation, the book. My wife read it. I know Junior did a review of it. I actually don't want to read it because it seems terrifying. He posted about a grandparent in 2013 and another in 2017 that had, in his mind, been mistreated by insurance companies. He worked at an assisted living facility for a few months while he was still in high school. So this was a cause that was close to him. And he subscribed to anti-capitalist and climate change causes. This is all according to the authorities.
Sounds like him.
Yeah. Yeah, he liked a bunch of Teddy K quotes. Said at the time of his graduation from college, I think this is from Penn, but I could have that wrong, that he planned to seek a degree in artificial intelligence. And he did. Masters of Science in Engineering, bachelor's in the same field. This is a very, very, very smart young man.
And it seems like at least his plan was seemingly pretty smart. They didn't catch him right away.
No, I mean, for a manhunt of this size,
how did they end up catching
a public execution, you know what? I don't know. Other than they just kept piecing together clue after clue after clue. Like, they've retraced his steps here,
like he took the train and then an Uber or then a bus.
Whoa. A bus.
Yeah.
I think probably what they did is they saw him going into a bus station at the end of his time in New York, and they just probably tracked every single route that was leaving at around that time. You cross-reference that with video from those outbound where he was going to be going, right? Let's say there's 100 of them. They all have cameras. We know he got on a train around this time. But the move would have been, to be honest, would have been to go into the train station and somehow just wait it out and not go to a train and leave and come back. I don't know how you get you probably have to have a disguise that you take into a bathroom or something.
Yeah.
But then stay there for 8 hours. Don't just stay in the bathroom. Nobody goes in there.
Yeah.
And if they do, they don't know how long you've been in there. But then exit, come back at a different time and a different get up, and then take a train. Overall, before we get it, or without getting into is there any justification for something like this, which is what the online world has been taken with, or probably just people in general. It is kind of disappointing to me to learn this was a guy. It's a guy that was mad about healthcare.
Why? You didn't think that was what it was?
I did, but I had started to convince myself that this was bigger. This was kind of like
an inside job?
Madness, yeah. That he had enemies within the insurance, possibly even within United Healthcare.
Because he was going to spill beans on some nefarious doings.
And so they needed to make it look as if it was a disaffected 20-something whiz kid. So they wrote defend, deny, depose on the bullets. And his backpack, which they found in Central Park, I don't know if you heard this note, was full of Monopoly money.
Yeah, I saw that over the weekend.
Just make it as Mr. Robot, cartoonish as possible.
What's that mean?
Don't you think that's a part of the plan, though?
But that's what I'm saying is I thought that would be part of the plan for the inside job. Was like, okay, this is too ridiculous.
What's
Either
the
way,
Monopoly money mean? Why is that?
Probably just means that I guess I don't know, other than just the idea of like money is fake.
Okay. So maybe it was the Brunigs I heard mentioning this.
Man, as soon as I saw that episode drop, I was like, if they're going to do a whole hour on the shooter, I got to listen to this.
Did you hear it?
Not yet.
Okay. I think it might have been them. I'm
Bookmarked
trying to
it.
think who else would I have heard say something like, do they, for every killing in New York, do they commit all these resources and this huge manhunt to like check every video camera? And well, why for this guy then?
Well, I mean, I think you know why.
I know, but
that seems like a pretty, I mean, the same as they would do of any public figure.
This guy wasn't a public figure. In fact, didn't he?
Low profile.
He kept a low profile.
Painstakingly,
You're right about that.
Yeah. I just thought that was a good point.
It is. I mean, it's a good point. Just to
like,
prove
hey, you could
the
do
obvious.
this.
Yeah, you
can
could find
really
anybody. Yeah,
kick ass and.
Yeah, so when you call the cops and you're like, I think someone stole my car stereo, and they're like, what do you want me to do about it?
Right. They probably could do something about it.
Probably pretty quickly.
Yeah.
But on the flip side of me thinking like this is kind of a letdown, it is still always interesting when people decide to up the ante in their protest of policy. I was going to say like state policy, but it's not that because it's a private healthcare company, but it basically is, right? You're mad about the system. And when somebody decides to go rogue and go off, like that's always going to be a fascinating story that feels like something from the movies. But maybe it's even cooler because this guy's not a professional killer. And he pulled off something pretty professional.
I think he could have gotten away with it if he wanted to.
It kind of feels like he would. I'm with you a little bit.
If you don't want to be caught, you don't write a manifesto and you discard of all the evidence. It seems like this guy would be smart enough to do that.
But that's the thing is I think he at least wanted to send a message. TC and I talked about this a lot last week of you want to send the message, but the real way to send the message would have been to like immolate on the street with your man, like set yourself on fire. Have a manifesto, leave no doubt about why you did this.
That's out of the news in 2 days, though.
No, it's not.
You don't think?
There's a video of a guy assassinating the CEO.
Oh, you got to do both.
After the.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry.
I wasn't clear about that.
Because the guy lights himself on fire at the White House twice a year, right?
You do the whole thing, and then you leave the bullets. The backpack of money is somewhere else, even though they don't need to find you. They're going to find your clues. Then you light yourself on fire in Midtown. And you make it very clear this was about this.
Well, then that's clearly that you want to get caught.
Because
I'm wondering if this guy did.
But the thing is he did like a halfway thing where he left all these clues, the deny, defend, oppose thing, the money just toying with him. But for this to really land the way that he seems to have wanted it to land, he had to be caught. Because the manifesto, the learning about his grandparents, all that. I don't know. It's a crazy, crazy story.
This system will never change, right? Like it seems
Private
like it
healthcare?
sucks. Yeah. It seems bad.
Yeah, I mean,
you're too far in.
That's what I mean. Like just the whole relying on having to have a job to have insurance, and different jobs have shittier insurance, and
we're certainly one of the only ones who do it this way, and we have decidedly more negative outcomes, even with, like you referenced last week, the whole Canadian, well, you can't get to a doctor forever. Well, it's pretty hard here a lot of times, and I don't know. I don't know how deep we want to go into this, but part of it also is you would be saying, it's like with a lot of things, Liberals do this with safety, or they refuse to do it, which is to say, I actually am personally okay if you told me I'm going to be 1% less safe on the streets if it had positive outcomes on the other side. A lot of times liberals like to act like, well, we could fix this problem on one side of the ledger and it'll have no impact on the other. That's usually not how it works. Same thing with healthcare. Like, I'm willing to say I'd probably take a little bit shittier care if it meant more people had it. Because it stands to reason that it might work that way.
Mm-hmm.
But that's somewhat of a non-starter. Do you have to be a killer to have a manifesto?
It certainly implies
or just
it, right?
a producer?
The producer manifesto. That's right. Many, many years ago, they had that at the ticket.
They sure did.
Was it called that?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it definitely was. Said it
like when you first worked as a producer, you had to read the producer manifesto on how to produce radio?
Yeah, and while I thought it was silly, I didn't run to make copies of it and give them to Dan.
Yeah. Somebody did, though. It was on the copy machine.
Our very own deny, defend, depose type. Yeah. The McKinney City Council has unanimously approved a zoning change that will now allow a third passenger airline terminal right here in DFW.
Who did? McKinney?
Yeah.
Why? DFW Airport's so close to my house.
Not mine.
Options, baby. It's because the whole Metroplex is moving north. How many times do I have to tell y'all?
I tell you, man, like when I'm somewhere else staying and I'm staying 45 minutes from an airport, it sucks.
This is for me.
Because then you don't know, how long, what if the traffic gets bad there? And see, at least here I can get over there, even side streets.
You cannot, especially if you travel a lot, you cannot understate how important that is. When we lived in West Fort Worth, that was also when we were traveling a lot. You get home from like a 12-hour, 2-leg flight, and you're like, we have a 45-minute drive across the Metroplex.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, dude, North Texas and TCU flew out of Fort Worth. So getting back after night games at 2 or 3 a.m. and then having an hour drive home. Horrible.
I guess you knew that it was at least going to be quiet on the roads. Maybe, but still, you're in the car.
And you're not sleeping well on the airplane. And
we're home in 10 minutes right now, and it's pretty choice.
Yeah, I guess I would feel that when we do a Stars flight because we get back at Love Field.
Yeah.
At 2 in the morning.
But as people move all the way to the red, they're going to need their own airport halfway between there and downtown.
Wasn't there always – there was some kind of a law that you couldn't have an airport?
Is that the Wright Amendment?
Is that what that is?
That's as far as I can really take
right.
that. So,
named after the Wright brothers?
Yeah. Yep. The mayor says the city is now in the process of getting commitments from at least 2 commercial airlines.
That'd be sweet.
Yeah, and there's also tell me how vague this is. And I don't mean to take a shot at Trump. All politicians do this, but he's still doing the they asked him, he had a big interview over the weekend, and they asked him about
the biggest
his healthcare plan, and he's like, "We've got concepts."
All right.
And, they will turn into a plan.
Just like the air raid offense.
It's just concepts. The mayor said in an interview, the mayor of McKinney, we're in the process of designing an infrastructure right now that we will begin construction on in early 25. We do expect that we will have major commercial passenger service airlines leaving in 2026. Another project that I am not at liberty to talk about yet, but will be a destination people fly in from around the world and country to experience. I can't tell you yet, but it's going to be Paris,
So
London.
in McKinney, there's going to be something that will draw people from around the world. What do you think it could be? Water slide?
Dude, perfect.
Do you think it hits for, do they translate it? Or not translate it, but dub it or subtitle it?
In other countries?
Yeah. That's a market they should.
Why don't we do that?
What, you're going to just like do Mandarin?
If it meant we can get rich.
Speaking of, I personally think that representation matters, so I'd prefer, a Chinese person being the Chinese Dude Perfect, but whatever, you kind of have a Scarlett Johansson.
Yeah, whoever you want to add. But the three of us doing trick shots in China, let's do it.
Dude, so my wife is in Shanghai, and she's 14 hours ahead, so we don't, it's really weird talking.
Man.
So we do talk in the morning, because it's like 4 here and 6:30 there. So I'll talk to her. She's like, and then by the time I'm getting the kid up, she's going to bed. But she was just kind of giving me the rundown.
Phone sex?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. In
Nice.
fact, you know what I did this morning?
I know it's not FaceTime because you couldn't figure that out yesterday.
No, I did.
Jake tried to FaceTime.
Headphone issue. I was trying to call him FaceTime audio from my computer so I could be looking at stuff while I talked to him, and my headphones were just jacked up. I took a bath this morning. Legs were a little sore, so I had my laptop in the bath, like on the little stand, editing audio.
Can you electrocute yourself if you drop the laptop in the bathtub?
I don't think so. I'd be out of laptop, but
I don't think you'd be electrocuted either.
Yeah.
Rob, any thought? Can you electrocute yourself if you drop your laptop into the bathtub?
Not plugged in.
No? Okay. Well, then go ahead.
Yeah.
Toaster, you would die. That's like an old TV thing.
Yeah, good Looney Tunes and stuff.
Like, has anyone ever actually done that?
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah. But anyways, what I was going to tell you guys, we were, I don't know how this came up, but she said that in Mandarin, I want to say, like, because there's two different languages primarily that they speak over there and tons of different dialects of them. But anyways, there is a filler word, just a fill-in word for thing. It's basically like saying like that, and I'll have something like that. But she said this was happening at dinner. And phonetically, it sounds exactly like the N-word in English. She's like, so I'm just sitting here at a dinner, and I'm just hearing.
And they're just fired it back and forth?
Yeah. She's like, it is the weirdest.
She's looking around.
Yeah, like, what are we doing here? And I looked it up, and there's Reddit threads. And
did she take advantage of that unique situation?
You know, when in Rome.
Did she use the AH?
God. Texas has been identified this holiday season as the state with the highest risk of porch piracy.
I saw like a police video over the weekend. Tips on avoiding porch pirates.
Was it from South Lake, and they did a bunch of wacky bits?
No, it was
about
Dallas.
The Wet Bandits or something.
They're just being regular. The UPS, I guess, I don't know if it's Amazon, UPS, whatever. Lately, though, when we've been getting deliveries, they knock on the door.
Really?
And then they because the dogs go nuts.
I don't love that.
But you know that there's something been left there.
I know, but
UPS normally knocks.
Is it UPS?
Yeah.
Okay. Like I said, I didn't know if it was Amazon's doing it lately or
Amazon doesn't, but the UPS guy in my neighborhood, he always knocks.
Which is a good bit.
Yeah.
It can be, but I'm at a very precarious stage here with dog that barks at knocking and child that I would sometimes like to not be awake.
Yes. Well, you got to put a sign then.
That's true. That's on me.
Yeah, put a sign that says,
please don't knock.
Man, I remember when I used to have
baby
to do,
on board.
Like all of us had to do the door-to-door passbook sales and stuff, and you'd see that sign, you're like, whatever, bitch. I'm knocking on your door. I'm trying to move these PBs. And now I'm like, please, God.
Not me. I was looking for a sign to tell me that I can't attempt to sell here.
You weren't
I hate
ABC as a kid? No,
just
dude, I'm with you. I was terrible at it.
And
absolutely
people are
terrible.
mean. And that's probably why I buy everything from any kid that stops by. I buy it.
Yeah.
And my wife will get pissed. That's why I send her. I send my Karen. Everybody needs a Karen, man. It's so great.
I feel like somebody did this bit.
I don't have to. What?
But it's a good
Everybody
one.
needs a Karen?
Yeah, like a Renta. There might even have been one, like a news story I did about it, where you just have them call customer service, give them your info.
I always do that with her though.
Yeah.
The restaurant didn't give me the sandwich I wanted. Well, let me call. I'll get us a free one for next time because I will never do that.
I know. I know.
And then she'll be like, "How can you make this right for us?" And then you got some 19-year-old kid on the other phone line, like, I don't know.
What are you, the mafia?
Yeah. And then she ends up getting a free sandwich for the next time.
Oh, yeah.
But to me, then it's a beating because you can't put that into the app. So you have to call and say, hey, I have this coupon for a free sandwich. Or like the manager, Marie, told me 3 weeks ago that I would get a free sandwich, and she said she'd write it down and put it in the office. And so I never.
I'll put it on your account.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, with her gone this week, the house is not like totally done, and she's telling me like, text the guy, ask him, see if they'll be there for this. They need to wrap up this. I'm like, I got news for you. Nothing is being done at the house this week because I'm not asking them anything.
Right. That's her.
It's just not
thing.
happening. There's your news.
Oh.
I waited till you leaned forward thinking that I had read the offense.
No, that's right.
Like and subscribe.
I'm actually checking my texts every 2 seconds because
what do we got going on?
We have mobile pet grooming on its way. And so I'm going to have to like run down and give them the dogs. They're all fluffy right now. They won't be tonight.
It's game day for everyone.
Got some viewer mails. Missed this on Friday. Very unfortunate because we love Courtney. We love Courtney.
Courtney.
She wrote, Dear Dictator of Delightful Diddling.
Oh, that's one thing I missed in the news. Jay-Z.
Diddling?
Yo.
What's the deal?
There's a lawsuit as part of the Diddy thing where they're accusing him of raping a 10-year-old with Diddy at an after party. Now, he says it's part of an extortion attempt. 13-year-old, sorry. Don't get crazy.
Oh, that's not as bad.
This guy's Jay-Z we're talking about here. He responded kind of on his own didn't really look like a lawyer written thing. He did say I talked to my lawyer, and he just posted a long notes thing saying, like, listen, to you, Mr. Sleazy Attorney, you're effing with the wrong one. I've looked you up. And you know who he looked up? Tony Busby.
Tony Busby?
Tony Busby is the one bringing the lawsuit?
Yeah.
Damn. Our guy.
Yeah. And I don't know, because now people are going back and like, hey, Jay-Z was 31 when he started dating Beyonce. She was 19. They met when she was like 17. What's going on here?
All right, let me do these birthdays, and then we're going to take a quick break.
All right.
Or you guys can just talk amongst yourselves while I walk
We'll
downstairs.
take a quick break. It's fine.
Dear Delightful Dictator, you heard. Please wish Mein Fuhrer that put 2 babies in me, Matt Brown, happy Ryan McNeil birthday. His leaders are Possum Kingdom, Lake House Dan, Jake, and Blake, and I should have been there.
Yeah, that was a fun time.
That's Courtney.
No girls allowed.
That was Scotty Scheffler Day.
That's right.
And the day he threw an apple at your car.
Damn.
Oh, yeah.
Quite a Friday.
Burned into my memory.
Hold on, let's do this. I'll be right there.
Well,
I like the audio text.
Why?
Do you guys do that?
No, because we're not 100.
And then I'll be like, I enunciate.
Yeah. My mom does it.
Olds do it.
Only olds do it? Why? It's so quick. You just rather would type while you're driving?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh. Greetings, Mr. Dan. My name is David. I am... Wait, what day is today?
9.
Oh, good. I'm turning 69 on the 9th of December. I'm a day one listener of The Ticket. I could prove it if necessary. I'm still pissed the Hangzone was not able to stay. I've been with the Patreon podcast since you guys left. Please give us more Doug Townsend when you can. Brandon Aubrey is great. More Iztok Franco. Heart Attack Man. Less Jasmine. And Chappie Banter.
Oh, come on.
I've listened to every episode of the podcast at least once and lots of them twice.
Hell yeah.
I love the series with the lawyers. Thanks for helping entertain me as I enjoy retirement. David, not far from Turtle Hill. P.S. This guy's got a lot of opinions. P.S. It's time to lose Todd Meany.
Damn.
So that's why he didn't play him Friday.
It's coming for everybody.
I didn't play him because David had sent me this Friday.
No one is safe when King David sits at the throne.
Meany.
Yeah, what happened to Townsend? You guys were real weird about that. Like I went away to the Hab and I came back and you're like, yeah, no Townsend, dude. We're not doing Townsend.
Oh, for picks, yeah.
I saw one of his videos pop up on my timeline the other day and I was like, I miss this guy.
He might make an appearance soon.
Okay, Mayor of McKinney.
Listen, we got concepts.
Okay.
Dear Asian Indian Superman, Mavs designated driver of the game, and Chappie Kemp's neighborhood IT guy.
Yo, I want to win that.
What?
Every time they announce it at a game, I'm like, how do you get to be that guy?
You're a prime candidate these days.
I know. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, the designated driver. That's funny.
I want to win soldier of the game. Happy birthday to my brother Jameson. And a shout-out to my Heisman-winning running back in college football 25, Ladarius Renfree. More Jared Sandler betting talk. Have you seen his stuff on Twitter? It's pretty insightful. He's not just a baseball dork.
Because without that...
Anchor word for submission for all intents and purposes. Does that count? I never hear anyone say for all intents and hose. DZ rules from Rand.
Oh, I thought that would have already been on there. Okay.
All right. Very short break as the dog's anal glands need expressed.
Jeez. It's just unnecessary.
And then we'll wrap up with some suck. But if you're listening to this later, you probably don't even know this is a break, right? Okay.
Nope.
The Dumb Zone.
Hey, guys, I'm back.
We're
all back. Welcome back to the live stream here on YouTube, the World Wide Web. It's really warm outside.
For real?
Yeah.
Nice.
Like, it's nice. It's sunny. You should get out there and get your vitamin D.
Just trying to keep solid weather for this race on Sunday, boys.
What does that mean?
I'm running the half marathon.
Whoa.
Oh, half?
Yeah, I can't do more.
What is it?
I've become
Fort Worth?
Dallas. I become comfortable saying I'm
That's
doing
right.
a half.
Is Hawkeye involved?
He's very involved.
Okay. Is he the guy again?
He's the guy.
Okay. I didn't know.
He's my liaison.
Oh, great. He didn't call me?
He did not. To be fair, he didn't call me either, but I
Could
said,
I
hey,
walk
remember how we used to work together?
No, he's a great dude.
The best.
You know what? We are video today. Since I just wrapped up viewer mail birthdays, you want to actually open that box? Cause
I was kind of hoping we'd just forget about it for another few weeks or so. And
just
leave
grab
it there.
People keep sending, they send stuff here. I have a closet full of, actually an attic full of stuff that people have sent here. But this one I remember, I can't remember what it is now, but I remember it was addressed to Blake, or at least, for Blake. So let's open it up. Let's speed up the process a little bit here, Blake. I don't know how much I can say it, but don't open that. I don't know what it is. I know what that is.
Jeez.
Man.
Why don't you slow down a little bit, actually?
You asked for this.
Do you want me to speed it up when I make the video? Like I'll make it 2 times speed so it looks really fast?
Yes. But what about for the people that are listening, which is like all of the
I'll
audience?
speed it up for them too.
All right.
I personally would have thought of that before I
knew this was coming.
What do we got?
But it's backwards.
What is it?
It's a Ben Herbstreit little thing.
Ben Herbstreit.
Yeah. All the wording is backwards.
R.I.P. I don't know.
There was a Ben Herbstreit Raising Cane's commercial this weekend during college football.
Ben Herbstreit is advertising?
Well, Kirk is, and they decided to pop out a quick ad.
I think you gotta take this side off.
With Ben.
Okay, so you can stop ripping the... The nice thing somebody got you?
What happened today and the years before?
Today is Monday, December 9th.
I guess thanks for this. Although...
Somebody put their hard-earned something into that.
I mean, I'm glad the dog is dead.
Oh, jeez.
So I guess it is good to have this.
On this day in 1965, A Charlie Brown Christmas premiered on CBS. Do you guys do that with your kids?
Yes, we missed Thanksgiving this year, but yes.
Yeah, we'll do it this year.
Okay.
Again, I got to get him off the original Rudolph.
I just wonder what from my childhood actually still remains today. And certainly A Charlie Brown Christmas was a staple, as is the regular Rudolph.
The thing is, you have to have Apple TV Plus.
This says, if love could have saved you, you would have lived forever.
Well, that was a quote. That was a quote from Kirk Herbstreit.
Oh, even better. What a homo.
On this day in 1979, scientists certified the global eradication of smallpox, a disease which had killed 300 million people in the 20th century, eradicated.
Nice. We'll never go back.
By science. Big day for little Dan on this day in 1982. We got a 5-for-1 trade. The Cleveland Indians. Von Hayes was a rookie for the Indians who hit .250 with 14 home runs and 32 steals. And Philly thought, this guy, we will trade 5 players for him. They were 4 players you never really heard of probably or don't care about, and Julio Franco, which was pretty awesome. I loved Julio Franco.
Oh, who didn't?
As did many young Ranger fans later. Jake, on this day in 2013, scientists revealed that NASA's Curiosity rover, had uncovered signs of an ancient freshwater lake on Mars.
Oh, great, cool. Let's go jet skiing or something.
It just means that there may be conditions that we could actually have life on Mars.
Or it could mean that it was sustainable 7 billion years ago.
On this day in 2017, Baker Mayfield became the 6th Sooner to win the Heisman. Can you name them all?
No.
Me neither. On this day in 2021, a jury in Chicago convicted former Empire actor Jussie Smollett on charges that he staged an anti-gay racist attack on himself and then lied to police about it.
He just got his court ruling reversed. His conviction was overturned.
For real?
Yeah, like 2 weeks ago.
So he got away with it, huh?
Technicality, yeah. So like he reached a deal, but then I think he was charged a second time, and they said, "Whoa, that means all of it's off."
Okay.
Don't know if he's working much, but
I mean, that was a story that we said was fake the second that we read the story.
Yeah. And it was an awesome story, too. His imagination.
So he was leaving a Subway restaurant, right? Not the Subway.
Correct, yeah.
At like 2:30 in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently, so he's way across the street or like, down the street a little bit. Some guys started yelling when they saw him walk out of the Subway, and they yelled, "Hey, Empire."
Right.
So these are like real racist white guys.
He said they were wearing red MAGA hats.
Wearing MAGA hats who could recognize a bit player. This wasn't like the main
From
guy.
From an ensemble cast.
Right. This was like, I actually watched season 1 of Empire.
I remember.
So this wasn't like Cookie or
Terrence Howard.
Terrence Howard. Cookie was the wife. Yes, this would be like.
It'd be like seeing Ronnie from The Shield.
Yeah, like
the
fifth
lowest member of the strike team.
But they recognized him from way across the street at 2:30 in the morning. Just walking out of a Subway in his civilian clothes,
mm-hmm.
and yes, started yelling, "Hey, Empire!" and then they had a noose on them.
As one will, right. Yeah, they just had it in their action backpack.
Anyway.
And the funniest part is like the two guys that he tried to rope into it and like said
no pun intended.
that they were the assailants. They turned out to be like Nigerian. Like extremely black guys.
Oh, really?
Yeah. The whole thing he didn't think through. But he got off.
Today's birthdays, Chris Boniol, 53.
I had a Boniol jersey.
Really?
As an adult.
Todd Van Poppel, 53.
Good dude.
Why do you say that? Did you interview him at halftime of Argyle something?
We became close as this kid played on the Argyle team, and he was treasurer of the Booster Club, so he wrote my checks.
Okay.
You get paid through the Booster Club.
Mm-hmm.
That's how it works.
NIL?
More like tax fraud.
Hey.
Interesting.
I've been around this game, brother.
World Be Free is 71. Former Cav great. Have you ever heard of him, Blake?
World Be Free?
It's a player.
No
His
way.
name was Lloyd Free, I believe, in the 70s. And then he changed his name legally to World B. His actual last name was Free. Yeah, dude.
Do you think
dynamic?
Do you think
exciting player
was the inspiration for the bubble names?
No, but that would have been great. He wouldn't have had to do anything.
He's like, oh, just make the same jersey.
Do it just for this one little time, huh? Not your whole life. Okay.
These are so funny in retrospect, guys. There's Say Her Name.
Okay.
I believe in reference to a female that was killed by the police. By far my favorite one, Group Economics.
Did World Be Free play in the NBA when he was 50?
No.
Look at it. He looks super old.
Yes, he was balding, and that's when he was a Cav. I think he was part of that 2-19 team that rallied to become a playoff team for Little Dan. Very exciting.
I want to get a See Us, Hear Us, Respect Us, Love Us jersey.
I like the economic one.
Group Economics. That's great.
David Akers is 50.
Man, I thought he was awesome.
He was.
Lefty?
Don't know it.
Are there lefty field goal kickers?
I thought he was. Yeah.
Huh.
Huh.
Who knew? Jim Haslett, 68.
He's kind of a guy. Like, he's just always been around. And you're like, well,
Former Saints head
guy's
coach.
a coach.
Judi Dench is 90. Dame Judi Dench, it says here. What does that mean?
Probably like the opposite of a knight. Not opposite, but the female analogous counterpart, if I had to guess.
Like Sir Paul McCartney?
Yeah.
Dame Judi Dench?
Yeah.
So it really means nothing.
Well,
she's a dame.
She's a sweet dame. John Malkovich is 71.
Gold.
Don't know anything about him, but I know
Cyrus the Virus, baby.
I just know that's that movie, Being John Malkovich, was pretty cool. What's Cyrus the Virus?
Con Air.
Con Air.
Ah.
Great character. Dude, don't laugh. I'm telling you. Have you ever actually watched it?
Of course we did. We had a movie.
I couldn't remember which movies you'd actually watched.
I don't know if did we go see it or did we do that in the pandemic?
I feel like that had to be pandemic.
It doesn't seem like, they would get the rights to that.
Yeah.
It seems like too awesome.
Yeah, right.
Is that the one with Steve Buscemi got space dementia?
No, but it does both have Steve Buscemi. Armageddon, he gets space dementia.
Oh.
In Con Air, he's kind of a signaled pedophile
who
they have to keep in a cage on the plane.
I guess you don't get space dementia
without being in space. Yeah.
But one of the
did you say on the island
or wherever?
That's The Rock. God damn it!
Oh. Well, Con Air is
That's
in the
why
air.
I was questioning.
The island where they had the magnetic boots. That's The Rock.
Yeah, or that might be Face Off.
That's definitely not Face Off. I'm real familiar with Face Off. I actually think we didn't ever do Face Off.
Face Off is the magnetic boots.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the prison, they would lock it down like that.
Oh, then we did do Face Off.
Now you see why I was curious as to whether or not you actually watch Con Air, because you think all these awesome movies are the same awesome movie.
I actually do, yes.
Yeah, well,
and you're telling me they're actually not?
4 different.
Like if I was to watch them all consecutively, I wouldn't say there's any
totally different
plot points.
Totally different.
Felicity Huffman is 62.
Was she the Operation Varsity Blues lady? With the college testing scandal?
No.
She wasn't one of them?
I don't think so, but I'm actually not sure. She's not the one that went to prison.
No, that's the other one.
Lori Loughlin.
Yeah.
Huffman was arrested for her involvement in a 2019 nationwide college entrance exam cheating schedule. It feels like you guys both just doubted Kempspin.
Yeah. Sorry, man.
Wow.
I apologize.
Ouch.
Lori Greiner is 55.
Who's that?
I would have thought older. Back when I watched Shark Tank, I thought she was 55.
Yeah.
No offense to Lori Greiner.
Yeah. She seems weird.
Yeah, but she's like businesswoman with money and stuff.
Oh, I'm not out. It just,
yeah.
I don't know. It seems pilly.
Simon Helberg is 44. The Big Bang Theory.
Yeah, that guy's probably got $1 billion, and up to this moment, I'd never heard his name.
You ever watch an episode?
No, certainly not.
And I bring this up for you. Tom Daschle, 77.
The senator?
The 2-time Senate Majority Leader.
Players to see and be seen guy for sure.
Because I feel like that's a name that you would mention when you laughed at Norm's.
Yeah, he was definitely in the mix in my nascent political days. Tom Daschle.
Born on this day, now dead, Morton Downey Jr.
Dude.
Did you work with him? What'd you do? You were Morton Downey Jr.'s producer for his TV show or radio show? For both.
Damn.
Good dude? Bad dude? Okay, good.
Man, I didn't know anything about him.
The father of Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah. No.
Oh, okay.
But it was actually Danny Bayless. It was probably 5 years ago, and I was familiar with the face, but I didn't really know anything about him. He has many episodes on YouTube. Many as in several.
Not many.
Worth your time. Like almost worth go back and let's watch one of them like it's Springer or something. It's insane. And it's awesome.
Did that develop as you were with him?
I was in the second part.
You were in the insane era?
The second part. After the swastika. He did the swastika.
After the swastika.
Okay, we're going to need follow-up on that.
I know, right? Yeah. But and he's chain smoking the whole time.
Yeah.
It's a wild ride, but I feel like he was like the predecessor to what came later in television.
Absolutely.
Like the Springer era doesn't happen without him type thing.
Springer is start.
Yeah. Okay, I didn't know that for real.
Mayor in Chicago.
Cincy. Yeah. It's worth it.
Also born on this day, now dead, Clarence Birdseye, the founder of the modern frozen food industry.
So what if we take this stuff?
How do we keep it good for longer?
We're going to freeze it.
It'll never work.
Blasphemy.
My friend over here, Mr. Microwave, and his business.
And Joseph Pilates, who invented the Pilates method of fitness.
Stuff works.
I don't really know what it is. Is it like Kegels?
I'm sure you could work that in.
Okay.
Why do you know so much about Kegels? You have problems?
I'm thinking about transitioning.
It's not just for women.
Oh,
now,
really?
I'm the guy who knows so much about Kegels.
You can do bottom Kegels?
You can do penis Kegels.
Pegels?
Pegels, yeah. Like when I was a youth, like college age, and I was like, how do I stop busting in 3 seconds?
Yeah.
You learn that the male Kegel exists.
Yeah.
to tighten that thing up.
My algorithm likes to tell me 12 exercises that I can do every day to
they must
last longer in bed.
Following you.
And Dead on the Stay Still Dead, Branch Rickey.
And you do them for a day or two. You're like, okay, yeah, I can do this every day.
Yeah.
And you just stop.
In history.
Actually, I don't mind busting quick.
So Blake and I
don't have to do this.
Hell yeah. Blake and I were talking this morning about how we were trying to shorten these episodes up. And we didn't do it today, did we?
3 hours.
Well, but you're going to get a couple breaks.
Yeah, 2:40-ish.
Do we need to shorten them up?
I don't know.
That's for the fan to decide.
I think we do.
All right.
Adios, mofo.
We gotta go before this becomes a zoo.
Stream tonight.
Thank you for watching my video. Subscribe and type for my name if you want to watch more of my videos.
And now, an excerpt of a courageous journey from the bottom of a bottle to a top 10 Substack sports podcast.
There were nights when Jake Kemp lay awake in bed, the same sentences on loop in his brain like a station whose dial refused to budge. You have to stop. He stared at the ceiling, but you can't stop.
You've been listening to Stories from Skid Row to Redemption. We'll be back soon with more inspiring journeys. Here is another portion of Stories of Bravery, From the Gutter to Glory, as read by Fox 4's Steve Noviello.
Kemp had been hiding bottles in his car for months. He'd been slipping out of the house at night after his family had gone to bed. When his wife asked if he had been drinking, he lied.
Stick around for more inspirational anecdotes such as this one, right here on DZTV. Let's continue following the path from pathetic loser to dedicated family man. A saga of sober living in America.
Jake wanted to stop. He couldn't stop. He tried moderation management. He tried medication. He lay awake at nights, caught in a tortured spin cycle. Then he'd wake the next day saying, I just need to get through the afternoon. I'm going to stop by the store and get something to drink.
We'll be back with more tales of heroic determination after these words from Early Bird CBD. And now, how a degenerate dumpster dweller found hope to fight his demons and follow the light back into the arms of his neglected family.
Jake arrived in rehab, and the first 2 nights, he didn't sleep. He remembers thinking, there's no turning back from this. Either you will get a divorce or you will lose your family. You will probably at some point die or hurt someone else. Or you'll have something to be proud of.
Stick around for the thrilling turning point in this story. And don't forget about our Cowboys-Bengals Monday Night Football live stream on December 9th. Secure your spot at dumbzone.com. How did a piece of human garbage find the tenacious spirit to go from gulping a handle of Tito's before lunch to reuniting with his often ignored children? Let's listen.
In rehab, Jake started working out again. He journaled like crazy. A FaceTime call was where his wife noticed a difference. His skin was clear. His eyes were bright, like something flipped inside of him. He was the person she met 14 years ago. He told her, this is the best I've felt in my adult life.
Don't miss the exciting conclusion of how a railroad hobo uncovers a second chance at life at the cost of missing an entire month of work. How will the story end? Will Jake go full-on red from Shawshank in prison? Or will he claim victory over the countless bottles that have made him virtually unbearable to be around for 25 years? Let's find out now.
Jake is aware that he's new to sobriety. He says, I'm not having a hard time right now, but I know it will be hard. I guess this is what people mean when they say they have found a calm or a peace or the ability to feel real joy. Happy endings are the stuff of fairy tales, but if we're lucky, we might be happy right now.
You've been listening to the uplifting saga of how a depraved vagrant found sobriety through his faith in Jesus. Look for our upcoming series on a man who finally sought the truth and admitted to himself that 9/11 was not an inside job, when we look at Dallas, Texas content creator Blake Jones.